All right, here we go. It has been a while. Welcome everyone. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I was wondering why the Wild Dogs. Yeah, exactly. So tonight's gonna be a fun one. Tonight's gonna be a fun one. First off, welcome everybody. It's been a while. I've been out of the country the last 2 weeks. I had a work trip where I was actually over in Europe. So I haven't been streaming for 2 weeks. Hopefully, yeah, I feel bad. I've missed it. I've missed this. I know my brother's itching to play some pinball, but we used to have a really good consistency of doing a playing stream and then a chatting stream, a playing stream and a chatting stream. But honestly, I've been spoiled having an awesome opportunity to. We had Venom very early on, streaming Venom, and then to bring Labyrinth home over Expo was definitely a surprise. So I know we definitely we dove in on trying to stream as much content as possible with that. But I will be honest, I've missed these chatting streams. Tonight's no exception. Tonight's going to be a great time. And if you're wondering, if you look on the camera, I have a red scab here on the bridge of my nose. I'm an old man now, and I like wearing a a breathe right strip to bed because you breathe so much better. And apparently, I peeled one off a little too aggressively, and it just decided to peel off my skin. So I didn't run into a wall. I didn't do anything like that. It's literally I don't know. That's what that is. If if the cameras are picking that up. So with all that said, chat, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being here on time. I love seeing this. Kirk Hobbs, yeah, good morning from Australia. Everybody, people mentioned Wild Dog. Perfect. We actually have we have 5 people tonight, including myself. 5 people tonight, including myself. So that's your story. You're sticking to it. Kirk Hobbs, that is the truth. That is the truth. So here we go. Here are the 5 people we have tonight to talk pinball with everybody. That's not what I wanted. I wanted that one. There we go. Yes, we're going to do our normal thing. We'll go around the circle. We'll introduce who we are, what we do in pinball, and then what was the last game of pinball you played. And I'm actually going to start with the newest people on the stream. That would be Gary and Ed with Wild Dog Arcade. The theme here is I wanted to invite people that were all at Expo because I know we wanted to talk about some of the games that we played at Expo, and I know Ed and Gary were at Expo. So Ed and Gary, please introduce yourself. Like I said, what do you do with pinball? And then what was the last game of pinball you played?
Yeah, well, I'm Gary.
And I'm Ed.
And, primarily we're pinball streamers. We also do some YouTube videos and silly things like that. We actually just played Rush on Sunday, so that was the last game we were playing.
Mm-hmm.
So
awesome.
Yep.
Very cool.
And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much whatever Gary said. We both work full time. Wish we could do this as a full time thing for sure, but we're having lots of fun. So yeah.
Yes, and I really appreciate you guys hopping on this because normally you guys stream every Wednesday. Wednesday is one of the nights that you stream.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate you putting a pause on that and doing this instead. So thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I put it as Wild Dog. If you guys are new to Ed and Gary, it's Wild Dog Arcade is their actual Twitch handle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, Wild Dog Arcade. So feel free to
Yes.
find them, follow them. Fantastic streamers, very well laid out and very technical streams. So yes, hopefully you guys, if you're new to them tonight, chat, definitely follow them. Or if you're watching this afterwards on YouTube, definitely check them out. So thanks so much for being here. We'll just keep rolling around the circle here. Josh, if you want to go next, go for it, man.
For sure. I'm Josh Roop. I'm from Loser Kid Pinball Podcast. I do it with Scott Larson. It's about a bi-weekly thing that we do, and we just have fun with it. It's I don't know what else to say about it. I guess award-winning.
Sure, yeah.
And then last game I played was Foo Fighters Pro.
Nice.
I'm trying to get to the end mode in that, and I've taken probably a week break from it, but I think that it's about time. Thanksgiving break. It's gonna go down.
Nice. Ed and Gary, you guys, I see you have a Foo Fighters behind you. Have either of you guys reached the final wizard mode yet?
No, we have not. So
yeah.
Sadly, no. Got to Planet X multi-ball once. We're still kind of working on on getting there.
Okay, nice. Very cool. Yeah, because I know in Foo Fighters that wizard mode, I've just seen. I don't want to watch it because I don't want to be spoiled. But realistically, am I ever going to see it? Probably not. But seeing it looks like they made a really fun mode with a pretty funny ending too. So
yeah, these newer games, it's tough to get to. I mean, we've owned Rush a year and a half. I still haven't got 2112.
Yeah.
Been so close,
Yeah.
but not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking
not
in your
there.
background. Yeah, Rush is no joke. I know Foo Fighters is a little more approachable, but still hard to get to the end. And then Godzilla is a whole nother story, depending on how
Mhm.
crazy. Josh, how far have you gotten in Godzilla?
I've been one step away from being King of the Monsters.
Oh wow, shoot.
Wow.
So
Okay. Yeah.
I've seen Planet X a handful of times, and yeah, it's just getting to that level 12 that on Godzilla. It always seems like I just fall short. It needs a couple. I don't know what it is. I always choke when there's like 2 shots left, right? Like it's same with Foo Fighters. You know, I've almost been to the very end, and it's like I literally just need to make this one shot. I'm into a multi-ball, and like keeping multi-ball alive is not hard, right?
Sure.
And so, or like, yeah, or even just trapping up and draining 2 balls so you can move on. With Godzilla, it's kind of the same thing. It's like I just, for some odd reason, I choke on the that last 2 shots or whatever it is.
I think we're all familiar with that feeling. I think we're
Yeah.
all, yes, for sure. Kaz, dude, with the super chat. Thank you so much, man. And yeah, speaking of Godzilla, I know Craig Bobby here loves his Godzilla. Craig, go for it.
Yes, my name is Craig Bobby, and I do the Top Stories news segment on the Pinball Show with Zach Meny and Dennis Kriesel. And you, of course, can catch that on the Pinball Network, and that they release that every couple of weeks. Yeah, as you can see behind me there, fresh off of Expo, I've got the lit LEDs going. The speaker lights going now. Yeah, just like you, Joel.
And I see
wow,
Gary and Ed
what
have
a
them
great
too.
mod.
Yeah, yeah, right
Yeah,
there,
it's
yeah.
such a great mod. Such a great mod. And I'm so happy I was able to get those at Expo this year. The first year I went, they were sold out, of course, but now they're back in stock, and a very easy mod to install. But I'm going to show you guys something else. Look what just came to me this week, and Joel knows all about this one. I don't know if he's installed it yet, but hot off the presses.
Oh, the building. Yeah.
The building
nice.
from Diddy there. I am super excited to get that installed maybe this weekend. I'm both excited and I'm also dreading it because I know I
Yeah.
I don't want to take it's such like a big part of the game, and I am nervous as hell about doing anything to that mech to try and mod it. But I'm gonna have faith that I'm not blazing a new ground there, that people have come before me and it's worked out. So I'm just gonna take my time and hope for the best.
It's you take the entire building out, and then you basically add some stuff on the side and top, and it looks relatively easy. I say that, but the install video is like 50 minutes, 50.
Yeah.
I mean, it is quite a thing. It looks relatively easy to do though. But I'm with you. Craig, I just haven't found the time, because I know 50-minute video is probably more like 2+ hours of it to actually do it yourself. And you're right. It's not just a, like, oh, here's something cute to screw onto the top. It's like, as soon as you pull that out, your game's down until you figure out how
it's
to
like,
get it
oh boy, now it's getting real.
Yeah. I put the flame LED speakers on my Black Knight. Yes. Yeah. So G Money. So those, if you want to know what those are, anybody watching this afterwards, Speaker Light Kit is where you get those. Let me find this. Here we go. Boom. So speakerlightkits.com. If you go to that and then you search for Godzilla, technically it's not specific to that, but the Flamin' Frames, here they are. They are awesome. You'll want to get the frames. You'll want to get these plastic diffusers. It helps diffuse the light. And then there's also a acrylic for the skylight. Or not the skylight.
Yes, it's the cityscape, I think.
Cityscape.
Yeah, we've got the cityscape on ours. So
yeah, it's down here somewhere. But if you reach out to Doug at Speaker Light Kits does a great job. It's on here somewhere. I feel bad that I don't have it already. But yes, you can see that. I mean, I have mine. I freaking love them. You see them in the back of all my videos. Yeah. I love it that Ed and Gary have theirs. I didn't know that, and then Craig obviously got his. Speaking of this is a tangent. Speaking of Speaker Light Kits, the reason I want to bring this up is we've mentioned this before, but Dan at Pinwoofer is just reaching into speaker lights and other lighting on your game. So the reason he did all this was Penwolfer makes an amazing product when it comes to the audio package. He has this made amp. He has custom made speakers, literally custom made speakers designed for pinball. The custom made amp, all the wiring harness, everything like that. Well, he was getting calls because there's all these different speaker lights out there, and trying to get other people's kits to work with his speakers. And so he finally got to the point of, you know what, I'm going to make my own solution. And he did, and it's now available. He has 2 different models for Spike games. If you have expression lighting, there is a kit that will tap into the expression lights and then display those on the speakers. But what's unique about his kit is there's a hub. And so they've actually teamed up with Measle Mods, where you have this hub and you can actually pull that information off the hub and go even further with it and have that lighting go into the back box, like behind the back box light or under the cabinet light. But what's unique about his solution is it's the actual light, the ring is a PCB, like they're surface mounted LEDs on a PCB board. So it's nothing 3D printed. It's just a drop-in solution. It looks really slick. There are videos on YouTube of some of the stuff already here. Yeah, you can see some of these here. It looks really slick and it looks really, really well done. There's an expression lighting kit version, and then there's also a version of just like a controller, and you can control the color and whatnot. So I would say they are comparable in price to the speaker light kits. Dan is actually going to send me a set just because I'm curious. I want to try it. I will report back once I have tried them. But have you, Ed or Gary, do you guys have, I know you have the flaming ones, but do you have, like, I know Ninja Camp has a version that connect to the expression light. Do you have anything like that or no?
No, our Rush is an LE, so it already has expression lights.
Oh, yes. But what about you? You haven't done with you haven't gone one step further of tying the expression lights into the speaker lights, right?
Yeah, Rush doesn't have any speaker lights, so
yeah, none of the machines at this point we've tied anything into the expression lights and so forth.
Well, I know there are 2 on the market. There are 2 speakers. So one, Penwoofer would be one. Now this is a brand new thing with theirs. So it's right here, measlemods.com. You can go even further with expression lighting outside so if you start with his kit for the expression lights, then you can go further and get lights that are channels that'll go on the back of the back box and under cap. It all just depends on how much you want to light up your games. But I'm excited about this. I mean, I'm all for competition, even if in the mods realm, just because if it forces improvement or causes improvement, I'm all for it. But I'm all for speaker lights. I mean, my CGC, my Cactus Canyon has speaker lights. My TNA, the speaker lights in that came directly from Spooky. But then all of the Stern games that I own, it's like once you start, you can't really stop.
Well, what I kind of like about the one you're pointing out is it ties into the expression lighting.
Yeah.
So,
with the music, it sounds like there's musical cues and stuff too, right?
Yeah, a little bit disappointed. It was like, oh yeah, you can put them on and it does stuff.
Yeah.
But the game has all of that information. Somebody can tap into the CAN system.
That's exactly what this is doing. So Rush, Foo Fighters, all that. You can just tap right in and start pulling that information, which is pretty cool. But you'll see that any lighting on the inside of the expression lights is also happening on the speakers, and then you can even go one step further, like you can see in that video, where the lights behind the game and under the game are also doing what the expression lights are doing. So it's how far you want to go, So another new product, a new mod that I think is exciting. Dan is going to send me a set, and I'm looking forward to trying those out. And that's not even to mention the actual, what Penwoofer started on, which is the audio side of all of this. I actually have a Penwoofer kit, an official one in my Godzilla, and I love it. It really drastically improves the sound package. Josh, don't you have one?
I do. Dan was nice enough to hook me up as well on my Godzilla.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts? You have one too?
I love it.
Ed and Gary, you guys have one?
Yeah, Rush. Of course, my number one favorite band. I was really disappointed in the audio quality. I'm like, I got to fix that.
And so you went Penwoofer?
Yep.
Nice. And what are your thoughts, like with install and all of it?
I've done a lot of work with lots of different things, whether it's pinball or cars or whatever. Install is pretty simple.
Yeah.
They're-
Yeah, I was super impressed with how professional the kit is. Like even the wires
Mhm.
are really high quality. Like they just nothing seems he doesn't skimp out of in anything that I've experienced. So that's why I just had such a great experience with his actual audio kit with the Pinwoofer audio kit that I'm excited to see what the lights are like. I'm really excited for that. So yeah, if any of you guys end up getting, a set of lights or something, I mean, if Ed and Gary, you guys have an actual kit, so I know the lights will fit in just fine. Obviously, he designed it for that, but the way he designed it with these speaker lights is it's all here. So if you need the brackets, if you need anything to adjust from the 4-inch speaker to the 5 1/4, obviously he spells speakers, everything like that. It's all here now. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that as well. Another mod that just dropped on my radar. This is so when I was in Europe, I actually saw Neil McRae. Neil McRae, he's a streamer. He's well known in the pinball hobby. He has an amazing arcade. He literally has this shed in the back of his house that he has all these machines. Well, Theater of Magic, he got Theater of Magic the day after I left, so I did not see this in person. So here's the quiz. I just paused it. What does anything stand out to you guys right now?
It's got the wide DMD like Chicago Gaming.
Boom,
has.
look at that. You're all over it. I saw that and
Dang.
immediately I was like, what is going on?
We used to own one, so I'm very familiar with those.
So you can see this right here. So you can see the Medieval Madness. That's from Chicago Gaming with the lit speakers and this. And I said, what is happening? Like, where did he get this
topper too.
layout? Yeah, I'm like, where did he get that display? Let me see if we can see it again. And it turns out, Craig will know this more than anybody. Turns out it's our good friend Stumblr. Stumblr, the guy that does the Neon Tokyo mod. Stumblr has this display. It's right here on the Stumblr site. It's the pin to DMD display. Apparently he's had these for like 2 years and I had no idea.
Is it for any like
any of these
Williams?
games? Any of these games
Wow.
and so it is a complete drop-in kit of the back panel with the appropriate size speakers and the correct pin to DMD. So this is something that for anybody that's unfamiliar, color DMD, there's essentially 2 versions out there. There's color DMD and then there's pin to DMD. And
which is made by Fast, right? Fast Pinball.
I don't know. I don't know the history behind the pin to DMD. I
know the virtual guys have been using the pin to DMDs for a while. So
Okay.
Yeah,
I do know Fast has their own solution as well, but it's like plug and play, and then you have to set the colors yourself. If I remember correctly,
something.
You have to ask Aaron.
It was something related to that, but this. So I reached out to Davey Stumblr. And I was just like, what is this? Like, and how long have you had this? Is this a new thing? And there are people that have gone through, that's what any of these games, they already have mapped colors. They already have, so that's, there are other DMD games out here than are what are in Stumblr's list. But these are ones that somebody's already gone through and mapped out all the individual colors for the shows. But to me, this is one of those mods that, in my opinion, is a game changer because I love this. Like this game right here, I love it. I love that look. I love everything about it. It just seems to be the perfect size display for me, and it almost makes me feel like I'm limited in a way to only the 4 CGC games that have that. But then I see this, I'm like, nope. It's like the floodgates opened to now every DMD game possible.
Right.
Which is
quite
really
honestly,
exciting.
color DMDs in general, when you get to those classic games, really does help elevate the game in so many different ways. It's exciting to see this.
It's like my number one favorite generic mod for a DMD era game. That's like
100%
things I do.
And the only sad part is there's not one for World Cup soccer.
I think you might be right on that. I don't know. That's what I'm curious here because it really just is connecting to the pin to DMD. So maybe that's something that you could just get a generic one. There are some in here that are, one of them is just black. Yeah, so like these that say black acrylic, they don't have art, but technically I think you could get one that's just black acrylic, and then maybe I don't know. So I'm looking in chat here. So Chase, Pin to DMD is great. I've used it numerous times. So chat, how hard is it if there's a game that's not in this drop down? Does that mean it's not like nobody's done it, or there's just maybe there's a reason Davey doesn't have that? I don't know. But even Ghostbusters is here. I mean,
Yeah.
The list is quite comprehensive. It is
really
impressive what's on
yeah.
here.
And so this is shipping included or tax included. So $460. Now that's euros. So we're probably pushing smaller speaker size. Yes. I mean, I'm telling you, it looks, you can see side by side here. It is exactly to match what you see in where was it? In a CGC game. So you can see it right next to it. So it just immediately in my mind brings, yeah, it's just insane. Many people do not know the Topper's actually licensed. Oh, this one? I didn't know that, Zach. They run on SD and you can get a blank setup and map your own colors. Ah.
Well, you keep saying that they're for just like the Bally Williams, but I'm seeing that there's Stern here too. You've got Batman, Family Guy, Iron Man, Metallica. Who doesn't want to elevate their Metallica, you know? Pirates of the Caribbean, Spider-Man. Come on. Walking Dead.
Simpsons is in here.
DMD.
Yeah. So Ed and Gary, I know. What do you guys have DMD? Do you have anything DMD related that's in this list?
Indiana Jones right back
here.
here.
Right there. Yeah. That was the number. What was it? It was like right here at the top. Yeah.
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 Well, it's one of the highest priced games, so of course he's probably going to do that one first.
Yeah. He's got an Indy 500 as well.
Yeah, we got an Indy 500 as well, and we used to have a whole bunch of DMD games, but we kind of moved everything on.
Yeah.
But I had a color DMD on every.
Twilight Zone was another one we had for a while on color DMD, which again it helps elevate it. It's
the No Fear
it's amazing.
Video mode is actually playable.
Yeah.
Oh, in a color DMD. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm. So here we go. So 440 pounds. Yes, thank you, Kirk Hobbs. It's pounds. So pounds to dollar, we're looking at $550. Color DMD. So that's just the display. I haven't. It's been a little while since I bought one of these. If you go,
not cheap.
LED's the cheaper version, and you're looking at 440. So for $100 more. Roughly,
I guess what I kind of like about it is I think it fits the format of the original one, whereas the color DMDs stick out. Like a couple of games, Indy, I have to pull up the speaker panel, lay it down so I can open the back box lighting panel.
Yeah,
so it's kind of annoying.
So that's the thing here. I don't know. I have not seen this in person. I literally just saw this. I saw this on Neil's video and immediately reached out to Davey. But yeah, you get the display, the SD card. If you pick the right one, they'll come preloaded with the colors already mapped, a wooden panel, 2 speakers, the acrylic for specific game graphic, H-channel latches. I mean, it sounds like it's literally 100% plug and play.
Yeah.
Unscrew.
You don't have to do anything with the speakers. That's amazing. $100 more, and you get speakers.
And you get new speakers for it. And then if you want to go one step further, he's saying if you want to add speaker lights, just like in a CGC game, there's an additional product of another $60 to add the speaker lights. Yeah, so if anybody does this if anybody in chat, or if anybody happens to watch this later on YouTube that has done this kit, please leave a comment. I am super curious about this. I don't have a DMD game but I'm telling you, if I had any game in this list, this is a mod that I would be super tempted to hop on. But as popular as Stumblr's mods are,
they're amazing.
They're incredible.
Hands down.
They're incredible. Do you guys? I know Craig does. I know he's Ed or Gary. Do you guys have any of his stuff in your Godzilla or Foo Fighters?
We just got the Tokyo Neon sign. Yeah, it's in a box. I've got like a battery of mods to do on a bunch of different games.
Yeah.
So it's when I can get a big block of time, I was going to put that one on. I'm also in the pre-order for the Neon Noodle Bar thing too.
Oh yeah. So I will tell you the Tokyo mod, it's actually a rather simple install. It's so easy. Yeah. When I went to Zach's shop, the Flippin' Out Barn, I saw he had it in a box and it wasn't installed. This was before the PIA Awards, and I was like, Zach, I'm putting this in for you. And I literally spent 30 minutes and installed it for him because that one's really not hard. The UFO mod is awesome. It's awesome. That one is a little harder to install.
Mhm.
That one took some
Mhm.
time to install, but it really is awesome. And then the noodle bar, similar, piece of cake. Installing that was a piece of cake.
I've got my
Craig,
noodle bar over here, so I just haven't had time to put it in. I
Yeah.
just need to do it.
piece
Yeah.
of cake.
Ah, life.
Yes, I know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what I will say at the end of the day, if Chad, anybody like that, please feel free to share feedback if you happen to have done that H2DMD. But it blew my mind when he said this thing's been out for like 2 years or more. I mean, it's been
Well,
out a while.
I knew a bunch of people were doing this kind of like putting it together, getting the parts, doing the wiring, and doing some of that stuff.
Mhm.
But I didn't know somebody actually put it all together in a kit.
Plug and play. So Stumblr said he hosts it here. He does something like Davey. I don't know how much of this kit he does. I think he has another local guy that actually puts them together for him. But they're all here. I mean, it's all here. Now I see in chat here, it's saying 660 shipped from Retro City. So there must be another site that's doing something similar, putting all this together. But this is, like I said, super curious about this. It just blew my mind that this has been out for a while and somehow I didn't know about it, because it really, in my mind, is kind of a game changer
Mhm.
when it comes to now kind of games that I feel like. One thing I love about the CGC games is having that big screen and the speed. It feels like it's it feels like it's a modern game. Like it feels like it's more
More grandiose.
more today-ish.
Yeah.
And it's silly that a display and speakers would make me feel that way, but I think it does. I think it does. So
Yeah.
I might have to look into that because Indy's got a new playfield and all new cabinet art, so I should
Okay.
buy that for when I get into that project.
yeah, add it to your list of mods that you don't have time to install. But
Right.
but yeah, no, I'm excited. And I would love to hear feedback on that. But well, I think that's it for my shilling. People would have accused me of that. But no, let's real quick, just because we are people know my collection. I talk about it all the time. I have Godzilla, I have TNA, I have Turtles, and I have Cactus Canyon. Those are my games. And then I'm streaming Labyrinth and Venom right now. Craig Bobby, he can go ahead. Craig, can you go ahead and roll through your collection real quick?
Yeah, I'll go through. So I've got Godzilla.
Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, thanks, Craig. Thanks. Josh, what do you have in your collection as of right now?
Right now I have Avengers and
Mhm.
Infinity Quest Premium. I have Godzilla Premium that is I'm modding because it's never leaving my
Yep.
basement. I'm kind of like against mods, but for Godzilla,
Yeah.
I got a baby Godzilla.
I'm telling you, Josh, you need to get these speakers.
I definitely do. I've got
You could-
the pin woofers now. I just got to hit up Dan.
Yeah, they're so great.
Uh,
Doug at
I've-
Speaker Like Kit will give
Doug, sorry,
you has
Doug.
the flame ones. Yep.
Foo Fighters Pro, Iron Maiden Pro, which one of those are going to be leaving? It's probably going to be the Iron Maiden.
Okay.
And then I got World Cup Soccer 94. And then on the, you can't see it, I've got an old EM, a 1972 Chicago coin Riviera.
Okay.
So that was my wife's. She wanted that one, and I got it for gas money. I can't complain.
Yeah,
So,
it was. I remember you said that was cheap. So 4 modern Sterns, but
yes.
then you got World Cup Soccer. just that
Mhm.
fun Bally feel, and then you got an old EM. Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
And I
Looks
totally
like-
agree with, like, we did that interview with Larry DeMar, and he suggests if your first game you should ever get, it should be a World Cup Soccer. It's great for beginners because it's like you hit it in the goal and it celebrates. It's like goal, and people get excited when they come over to my house and they start playing it.
Oh, yeah.
People remember that game
Fun
because it
game.
like
Yeah.
cheers you on. But then for me, like me and my son, we try to see how many times we can get to Germany and defeat Germany within one game. And I'm up to 3 times in one game, which is
That's
pretty fun. But
that's impressive.
but yeah, and like I said, the rumored, the allegedly game, Jaws, I assume will be coming into my collection after the beginning of the year. So
I know you're a fan of Elwin, but I like to see. I mean, it's obviously your collection is leaning towards modern, but
Yeah.
there is something about having, like, that's what I like about Cactus Canyon, having a kind of a game like that into the collection just to mix it up. But
Yep.
but yeah, Ed and Gary, what's your collection at the moment?
So Indiana Jones Pinball Adventure,
Yep.
the only Indiana Jones game.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters Premium, Godzilla Pro, Rush LE, OG Total Nuclear Annihilation. In fact, it's actually got a serial number that says show game on it.
Oh,
Cool.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Alien SV from Pinball Brothers, and then Indianapolis 500. And then I've got a virtual cabinet running visual pinball.
Nice.
So
Alien, how was that? I know there's a lot of okay. So your model was that one of
was
the
the-
original ones or
yeah, that was the very
not
first,
the highway version,
not the
but
Okay.
highway version.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is the very first Pinball Brothers. We got a really early game,
Mhm.
so it did come with a lot of out of the box problems. But Pinball Brothers sorted us out. I basically replaced every board, all the wiring harness, cabinet
wow.
boards, and now it's rock solid. And it's a fantastic fun playing game. It's definitely got the rule set that's more like a 90s game.
Mhm.
You've got set modes and a multi-balls and a single wizard mode. It doesn't have a ton of side quest type stuff.
But the theme integration is amazing.
Yeah.
You play that machine in a dark room. Gary doesn't like it at all. But it really, and you get the right mode going. Something like Sentry Guns, let's say, and your heart is pumping. You see the graphics on the screen. You hear, 40 meters and things like that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did order all of the new upgrade stuff they've got, all the flasher
topper.
kits. Yeah, we did not do the topper. Our
Okay.
basement's too short for toppers.
Okay.
We're not big topper guys, but I got the beacon mod on the playfield and then the beacons for the top of the cabinet because one thing I kind of miss from our getaway is when you'd get into the supercharger, you'd get
yeah.
the light
Yeah.
going, the nice light show. So
Well,
I'm
TNA
glad
helps
they
with
added
that a little bit, right? To
Yeah,
fill
it
the
does.
beacon void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our one game left that has a beacon on
Yeah.
top.
So, with Alien, I know they announced what is it, the Ripley edition, but
The-
have you
yeah, the
do you
Ripley.
guys have access to the code yet? Is that available for
No,
you guys to
they have
upgrade?
not released the code yet. I've been since we were working with Pinball Brothers for a while. I
Mhm.
keep messaging. It's like, so can we get that code early?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
do it for you,
Yeah.
but they haven't taken the bait yet.
Nice, because I think I heard, well, I think it was on the Pinball Show that they actually said, and I don't know if it's in some of the marketing material or whatnot, but it still says like seeking license or approval. So I know
Yeah.
Ripley is in it or supposed to be in it, but I don't know if that's
Yeah,
officially.
we actually had Expo. We had shot a bunch of video. They were playing a bunch of video, and the guys asked us not to post it because they said,
Yeah, they were
Um,
pretty much showing all of the scenes that
Yeah,
were going to be in the machine that showed Ripley, and there were various different modes that she popped up in that
Right.
she wasn't in before.
yeah, it just
but-
they said most of it was approved, but not all of it's approved yet. So
yeah, that's fair.
we-
Well, cool.
you know,
Does
Yeah,
that?
we're excited though.
Well, maybe this is another question for you. I mean, it looks like Alien is kind of a bargain right now. Like the price of some of these newer games, or not like what is it? They went down in like as what I'm getting at is as a current Alien owner, and it sounds like you guys have
Mhm.
put a lot of time and equity and energy into making your game work the way it is. Does that bother you at all that they're releasing new
we-
models with different art or something? Or
no, not at all. I
Okay.
mean, we were in like the second shipment, so
Mhm.
we were on the old pricing.
And we kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into when we knew A was a brand new company that was bringing out a machine from another company that
Yeah.
bombed,
Mhm.
and B, we kind of knew inherently what the risk could be,
Yeah.
aka there's things that may not work right away from the first
Right.
view that came out.
But as far as like if I had bought like an LV that came out, the one with all the lights and
Sure,
stuff, and they offered
yeah.
this new cheaper model, but it still doesn't have everything in it. I don't think I would be really upset because there's just more games out there for people to play.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, we're not talking major differences. If it was like, oh yeah, it's $4,000 cheaper, then I'd be a little bit upset. But we're talking 500
Yeah.
over their old SVs, so
Yeah, no, cool. Well, I think there's just been a lot there's been a lot of rumbling, right? Between
Oh,
the
yeah.
Jurassic Park 30th, and it's like, it's gonna piss off LE owners, and now you have Elvira with the blood red kiss
Blood
edition.
Red, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I was on the factory tour. I know Josh and Craig also did the factory tour. Did either of you guys do the factory tour?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
Not this time around, not this year, yeah.
Because they did they had the game there and it looks gorgeous. There's nobody can argue how good that new game looks. So it just always makes me curious as people. Well, I mean, like TNA, I had an original TNA. You guys had original TNA. So
Mhm.
when they announced that there would be a CE with extra stuff in it, no bit of me was offended. I was like,
No.
good.
Yeah,
I'm
really, yeah.
happy that more people get to experience this game, right?
You know,
Exactly.
since ours was a former show game, it actually had all of those extras on it.
Oh, nice.
already.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that is kind of a funny
yeah,
anomaly.
because it's got the lighted
It's-
TNA
yeah.
sides on it. The
Yeah.
only thing I did was I got a hold of Spooky, got the lighted speakers for
Okay.
it.
Cool.
So that was the only thing it didn't have on it. But I mean, I don't look at pinball
Mhm.
as an investment. It's more entertainment for us to play, entertainment for everybody else out there that comes and watches us. So when prices fluctuate up and down, I just not that.
And yeah, and I don't feel jealous. Like, how dare you? You know,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's like you say, it's just spreading the love and getting
Mhm.
getting it out there in more people's hands. I mean,
Well, I
that's-
mean, look how many of these games end up in private collectors' hands. They only see the 10 people in their family playing it. It's not like it's on location everywhere. So
Yeah.
it's great to see more of them coming out. So locations can get them and people can play them. They either don't have the space or the budget to buy a game themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see in chat here, Adam is saying I had a Jurassic Park I got my Jurassic Park LE for $8,800 and he prefers the green over the red. So I like the options. I like the thing. I always think of like Elvira's unique because there are the people that splurged and got the super, limited edition. And now it's like, well, crap! I thought I had the unique model, but now that thing looks like. But then again, maybe these people just, I don't know. I would love to hear,
Yeah. And
leave
there's
it
so
in
many
chat or
options.
leave it in, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's so many options out there too. With the fact that we were talking about mods earlier as well.
I don't think anybody should look at pinball as a way to have something to retire on.
Okay. Yeah. I think my thought though is so all five of us have a Godzilla. Like clearly Godzilla is a game that I think is essentially bolted in all of our collections. Maybe I'm wrong, but we love this game. And we're just thinking out loud here, it's like Godzilla's 70th, I think, anniversary is next year. Like I think it would be obvious. I think it makes total sense that Stern does a Godzilla 70th edition LE. Is this game beloved enough by any of us that we would consider taking, what, I know this is a keeper, so you know what, now you have a chance to get in on an LE new.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
For us, we actually like the gameplay on the Pro better.
Oh, you have the Pro. I didn't even.
We have a Pro.
Oh, okay.
Because we bought it like a year after it was started being produced, so we got to go play the different versions, and we actually liked the play and the speed of play on the Pro. So we specifically went for the Pro.
And that's the other interesting point to also bring up is with all these different versions that are coming out, as a consumer, you can decide, I played this version versus this one. I'd rather get this one no matter what the price might be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I streamed the Pro originally and had a blast on it, and to the point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this game, but I'm gonna go premium just because I'm a sucker for mechs. That's where I'm at. Josh, you have the premium. Yeah, you have the premium.
Yes, I do. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think it's just a weird spot to be in with all these different options or additions, and I don't know. I'm not an LE buyer, so I'm not in that part. I'm not in that position where I'm actually worried about am I losing? I don't know. I'm not there. But if you're watching this on YouTube afterwards and you are offended, tell me why. Tell me why or why what let me sympathize for you. I don't know. I'm just really curious about this. Go ahead, Craig.
It's still unique. I think when they're releasing these games, it's not like they're releasing the exact same machine again. So I still think, if you bought a Jurassic Park LE, it's got some unique features that the 40th anniversary doesn't have. And so, I think when you're buying something right now, I think it's unrealistic for a buyer to expect that this is the most unique or the top of the line forever kind of approach to it anymore. I mean, there was one time where that was the case, but I think those days, much like a $6,000 or a $7,000 LE, those days have long gone. you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you go out and buy a car, I bought a Challenger with a Hemi and all that.
Yeah.
Next year they're going to have, a wide body. They're going to do something else the next year. It happens over and over again in all industries. It's like
Yeah.
that's the business plan. It's like, hey, we
Yep.
get everybody in. Then 2 years later, they're going to like get rid of it and get the better version. That I think that's pretty
Yeah.
normal.
Sure.
I think the person though that owns an LE doesn't really look at it value wise. I think they look at it as like a bragging right? Because for the most part, you can get a premium. It's the exact same playing experience as it is for an LE. Really, the LE has the shine, it has the placard. I think that's where I know we keep going at it from like a money angle, but I really think Stern needs to slow down on these. And the reason being is I think that the LE market, like the elitist, is starting to get upset because it's, they don't truly have something limited if they're producing 500 limited extras every year. Even though it's a different color or a different whatever it may be, it just, we've bumped up the regular LE to 1,000, and now we're producing, like with Elvira is a good example. It's had an extra 3 LE runs or something like that, and so there's an extra like 1,500 games. Your LE is just becoming diluted now, and so I think a lot of people, the elitist, is getting upset with the fact that it's like, well, my game's no longer unique. Like it's just becoming another premium.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I see that, and that's what I'll be curious of is if the next Stern game coming out is Elwyn. I think most people in the hobby are going to be confident the game's going to be good. But is it going to sell? Are the LEs going to sell out day one? Are the pre-order? Are they technically already sold out with pre-orders? I don't know. Or is there a chance that some of these LE buyers are like, you know what? There's a chance Stern's going to make another model 2 years down the road. So I'm actually just going to buy the premium. And if I realize I do love this game, whenever the new LE comes out, I'll jump on that. Or they'll just buy the premium, and if they love it, then they'll buy a used LE down there. I don't know. Like that's where I'll be curious to see if that's something we'll have to watch. We'll have to watch to see, because Venom is really the only thing we have right now. Like there are still LEs new in box at distributors, and I don't know if that's just because of where we're at in the economy or the game itself or whatever. But maybe we'll segue that way. I know I've played the heck out of Venom, so I'll go last. Craig, was this your first experience playing Venom at Expo?
It was, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an extremely fast-paced game. The shots, I thought, even though it was a fan layout, I thought a lot of those shots were surprisingly difficult to hit kind of consistently. I didn't feel like they were gimmies all across the playfield there at the back, which made it a little bit more of a challenge to hit certain shots, and at least initially. But I really liked it. I thought it was, just a fast-paced, fun game. The theme for me wasn't top of my list. So it wouldn't be an instant buy for me, but I certainly saw the appeal and had a ton of fun playing it. It was one of the games that I played probably the most there. Other than Elton John, I probably played that the most. But this was probably my second favorite game of the show, I would say, just in terms of its how it shot and how it played. It was just a ton of fun, and I loved that XP system. I thought was really fascinating and intriguing and very different than anything out there right now as far as a pinball rule set is concerned.
Yeah.
So that made it interesting, and that the playfield, Zombie Yeti did such a great job with that art. I mean, you feel like you're just staring at the pages of a comic book, as his art lends itself to normally, but this, I think, in particular, feels very almost three-dimensional, the way they've laid it all out, with the different lanes at the top showing you where the ramps are and everything. So no, I really enjoyed it.
Do you remember, if this was your first experience, do you remember how high you got up in your XP, or did you make it into a battle? Like, did you battle any of these initial guys, or Grendel? Did you get to Grendel?
I didn't get to Grendel. I did get into one battle, I believe.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time remembering what my XP. I don't. Does level 16 mean anything? I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, no.
Yeah, I think I was up kind of in that range, or was that yours? I can't remember.
16. Well, you have to be at least 10. You have to be at least 10 to
Okay.
get to the first level of villain. So
Yeah.
16 may
Oh.
make sense.
So it might not have been bad. Yeah.
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 Josh, what were you? Was this your first experience with Venom as well?
No, actually, a local brewery called Keto's Brewery had received one in Salt Lake City, and I was able to play it there as well. It's an okay game. Like,
Okay.
I enjoy it. It's not for my collection. I'm kind of with Craig Broadby. Like, Venom's just not my jam. And this is one game that like really suffers from like it's kind of premium or nothing for me because the pro just feels so stripped down. I don't understand. Well, I understand the logic. Like they want to push you to go towards the premium, but I don't know. It's a good game. Like I think it's some of Dwight's best code. From his modern stuff, I think that Eddie did a good job with the layout. Here's the problem. Like, let's say this game came out like 10 years ago. I think this would have been a really, really great game. I think the problem is I compare everything to Elwyn now, and I just don't feel like it matches up to that expectation. And so that's just why it's not coming into my collection.
So when you say though you compare it to Elwyn, are you talking about layout? Or are you talking
layout,
about overall everything? Because Elwyn does everything, right? I mean,
talking layout and code. I mean, obviously this has Zombie Eddie artwork, so
sure.
It I'm not saying I don't know. I really like Michael Bernard's artwork from Rush, except for those terrible 3 comic book guys. But that wasn't his fault. That was a licensing thing. I don't know why he catches slack for it. But really, overall with Venom, it feels like a 90s game placed in modern era. I feel like that via the code, via the layout. And if I want a 90s game, I feel like I'll go with like I've already got World Cup Soccer. I don't need a Venom to take its place.
I do think it's comical that we've been talking about Venom for like 2 minutes and Hottie Frisco Pinball shows up in chat. Like he just knows. He just knows because we know Hottie's
the Venom signal.
Yeah.
Well, he is a self-proclaimed Venomite.
Yeah,
So.
he is all in. Ed and Gary, what were your have you played this or was this the first your experience at Expo?
Yeah, I'll start. It was our first experience with the premium at the Expo.
Okay.
I think it was our second experience overall.
Yeah,
with the game.
we played the pro at a local place. I got one right away. The Ulick store in Monroe.
Okay.
Got a pro, and the pro kind of made me angry. I did enjoy the play on the premium a little bit better because you had a little more to do. Because there's a lot of shots packed in there, so they're pretty tight. And if you miss them, it was just punishing it.
Oh yeah. I felt that way with the pro as well. I didn't have as much fun, and I kept Gary and I kept talking to each other about, oh, this has got to play way better on premium. It just has to. And then once we finally played the premium, it was like, okay, now I'm feeling more into it. I mean, I really love the theme. Venom is one of my favorite comic book properties out there. I've never necessarily, collected all the comics way back in the day, but I've always been a fan on the outskirts and things. So the theme integration, all the art, like mentioned before, and the color scheme, I think, is a well-balanced machine as well. I really like what they did with it. It doesn't look like it's just blah, it actually seems like it's flowing and
doesn't look
fun.
like a Photoshop job.
Right.
So
yeah,
it looks
exactly.
like a comic book, so.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That's I've played the heck out of it. I've played the heck out of the game. Honestly, I almost thought the pro shot easier, and the only reason I say that is because the layout's not changing. It's just easier to know, like it's just consistent. While and playing the pro a lot really made me fall in love with the code because honestly the layout wasn't. The layout wasn't what drew me in. There isn't anything on the pro that it's like, ooh, I want to hit that shot again. It's just like, okay, these are the shots, but let me really try to work my way through the code. But the premium, on the other hand, now I actually checked my Insider Connected numbers. I think I've actually played them equal at this point. The premium, definitely, there's more kinetic satisfaction there. And really, the more you dive into this game and you spend more time, every character, including the 3 you unlock, has a different layout. And there's something unique about that. I don't know of any other game that really gives you that type of experience of difference, because there are certain shots like this right orbit, for example. That right orbit on some characters goes all the way around, and that ball comes back to your flipper. Other times, there's a little post that'll stop the ball, and it'll actually drop it down into this VUC. So this can either be an orbit for somebody, or it can be a lock for another person. And it's just knowing that, because the orbits are the hardest shots in the game, in my opinion. They're the only games you can't backhand. They're the only shot you can't backhand. And so the fact that that's a lock for some characters is actually harder, in my opinion, because it'll hit the post, and if you hit it too hard, it'll actually roll past the hole it's supposed to fall into and come back down. So it's almost, there's some strategy there of certain characters, like, okay, if I'm going to battle Grindel, he's easier with some characters than other. And it's not anything to do with the code. It's all because of the layout. And it's very unique. It's very unique. I will say it is what makes this game unique, though, is also why people probably don't like it. And that's something that I think this is a game that people will search for down the road. Unfortunately, I just don't see them making a ton of these, just based off of how the sales are going right now. But it's just weird. It's weird having it in my basement, because it's a game that I like. It has the one more game feel to it, because I know I'm always building my levels. I'm always building my XP. So it's not, every game I play it's not wasted. There's value in that game. And but with that said, every game you're doing mini modes. You're just shooting combos. Every single game you hit start, you're just focusing on combos. And that, to me, is, dangling carrot of fun. The fun is in the battle, and you can't do the battles until you do the mini modes. So it does make me feel like, okay, 80% of the time I'm playing this game, I'm just trying to do mini modes. And I don't know, maybe it's just I'm not a good enough player to just blow through the mini modes, the qualifying things. It would be more like if Godzilla, to start a battle in Godzilla, you had to do 6 things instead of just ramp, scoop. You had to do, like, let's say you had to do ramp, 2 upper loop shots, and then the scoop. Like something like that. It just feels like all of a sudden you're not doing the fun things. So I don't know. I don't know where they're at with code. Hottie could answer it in about 3 seconds on if we're at 1.0 yet. But it is a game that I think people that just step up to it at a bar, the fact that there isn't any mech on it that really stands out to draw people, like captivate them in to keep pumping quarters into it. It's almost like you have to, so not at 1.0 yet. It's almost like you have to have somebody there to kind of coach you through the game. But once you have an understanding of the game, I do think you can get hooked to it, because like my brother, who's rather novice, he really enjoys it. And that's because he's at level 20 something and he can battle Grindel. Grindel's still kicking his butt, but it's still drawn back in. So it's very unique. I don't know. It's a very polarizing game, and that's what I'm seeing online. Anybody like Craig played it and he said he's enjoyed it, but he doesn't exactly remember where he was, And,
yeah. I at least I was looking on my Stern Insider Connected there. I at least got past level 10, but I can't see what my complete XP is for some reason on the achievements. What does it say? Progress?
It's in the progress section.
Oh, is it 11? There, I'm at 11.
Okay.
I see what you mean though by the mechs, Joel, because other than the red guy in the middle, whose name escapes me, Carnage there, which isn't exactly a dynamic mech either when you hit it. Really, I think the sort of the subtle amazing thing about the pin is the fast release balls there, whatever they call it.
The fast locks.
The fast locks, which does definitely keep you engaged. I find on that game, once you get them going, they are a lot of fun. So it's kind of a subtle mech, but I still think a mech nonetheless, for that particular game, and kind of sets it apart in that way as well. Which I thought worked extremely well.
They do. The fast locks actually work very, very well. Doppelganger is probably the only mech, him swinging out, that's kind of a wow type of mech, which isn't on the Pro. But the other thing that's a challenge to this is, friends and family come over and they step up to the game. It's always a short, like, well, what do I do? What do I do in this game?
Mhm.
Cactus Canyon, just hit Bart a bunch, just do that.
Right.
And then you'll kind of fall into quick draw. Godzilla, just hit the building a bunch. And this, it was just like, what do I do in this game? Like, I don't, there's nothing easy for me to describe, even though it is just, if you hit a yellow shot, then hit the blinky yellow shot. If you do, but it's too much for my dad to understand what to do in this game.
I think that's good games have a really good balance between stuff a novice player can step up and enjoy the game, and then experienced players have more to do in the game.
Yeah,
that's the idea of like motivating and elevating pinball in general. That's kind of the way I look at it is you're trying to get a new mechanic, a new gaming coding mechanic with something that's more not only different, but now they're trying to elevate the speed with the fast locks that you mentioned as well on top of the gameplay.
Yeah, and that's Rick and Morty had that with the portal shot, which I really liked. You didn't have to wait for the ball to drain; it would just shoot out and go.
Yeah,
and I've been talking to Dwight a lot in the background because he's more trying to evaluate. Initially in the code, he thought it was actually too easy. People were getting to level 99 too quick, and people were beating Noel too quick. And I actually kind of felt that. I blew through it. And now it's at a point where he's going to slow people down a lot to get all the way up to 99. So it's going to take longer to get there. Another thing he told me is realistically, like, Noel doesn't really get easier after level 70. And that's just because after you're at level 70, you're at a point where it's really only one or two shots, and that takes his whole life bar. Like, you can't, without removing phases, because it's a 5-phase battle, you can't really make it easier. And the only way that I could think he can make it easier at this point is either just way longer ball save, or there's a time element to each phases, just give you more and more time. Because I know one of Dwight and Brian Eddie's goals with this game is he wants a dad and his daughter, to be able to both beat this game eventually and have this be a game that somebody can work. Josh, I know you have a young son that plays, like a game that can really kind of help anybody achieve that final mode. In my opinion, at this point, I still think the game's too hard for anybody to beat. Because if you can't do your mini modes, if you can't hit those 6 comboed shots, you can't ever see Noel. So I don't know. Josh, your son was at Expo. Does he have thoughts on Venom?
I could ask him. I don't.
Okay,
I can't remember him. I remember him originally like that. He's like, we need to get Venom. We need to get Venom. And I know he played it at Expo, but I don't remember him walking away saying that was amazing or that was terrible. It was kind of indifferent.
Okay.
I mean, we talked a lot more about Elton John and Labyrinth than we did Venom. So
sure. I just think it's a game that once you understand it, it's actually a lot of fun. But unfortunately, I think it's just the way it's laid out, or the code, or the mechs. It's hard to just draw anybody into it, or it would be more of a challenge to draw somebody into it. But once you get it, this is a game that I think people could really love. And I've seen in chat, some people, they really enjoy Venom and are enjoying Venom.
Well, and I think the hard part too is like, I got my Foo Fighters, and it's kind of one I bought before I actually had played it. And I just kind of went out on a limb because I really enjoy Foo Fighters and whatnot. And I got the Pro, and about the first 10 games, I was like, this is really easy and really stupid. Like, I don't know what I like. No fault to the code or anything like that, but it wasn't. But it wasn't until I started really getting into the game I want to say about like 30, 40 games in, I started understanding the code, started experiencing the game, that I was like, I'm really starting to love this. Like, I really enjoy Foo Fighters now.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with a lot of pinball machines. If it can't grip you in those first 5 games with the little easy hook, right? Like with Godzilla's building or whatever it may be, people aren't going to give it the 30, 40 tries unless if they buy the game and now it's stuck in their basement. And even then, well, now that games aren't flipping as quick as they used to, it might just sit in your collection. You might be forced to play it, and people might start enjoying it more. That's my problem with Venom is I played 3 games on it. I almost got I looked at the progress just like Craig did. I'm at level 17 on my experience. I felt like I blew up the game and I wasn't doing anything super special. Like maybe I'm wrong. Let me see what this.
The reality is Carnage multi-ball is very easy to get into. You just hit Carnage a bunch, and then you hit the center ramp, and then the same thing with the Mayhem multi-ball, which is just locking shots. So 80% of the time I'm right about a pinball machine. Oh yeah, Gary's already is here. Happy Thanksgiving. A lot of people are saying that in chat. So
happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody in chat.
Yeah, my high score 700 million.
Which is
I don't
good.
know if that's...
No, that's actually good but a lot of those points are in the multi-ball, and it's very easy to get into Mayhem multi-ball, and it's very
helps
easy
too that
to
we're
get into
friends
Carnage
with Travis,
multi-ball.
and Travis is like, watch me blow it up by doing this simple thing, you know.
Josh with so I get it. The multi-ball, if you look at a lot of people playing tournament strategies, that's where a lot of the points are in this game. So if your friends and family, this is a game that's very easy to get into multi-ball if that's something they really get into. But yeah, the battles are actually a ton of fun. And that's the challenge is I don't think there's a lot of people that have seen the battles that are playing this on location. And those are actually a lot of fun. But you have to do your mini modes, and then you can get into a battle, and each one of them are unique. And then Grendel is a ton of fun, and Knoll is a ton of fun. But like I said, there's a comprehension there that you have to kind of work your way through to then be able to see those. So yeah, we will see. But okay, well, I think that's good. I think that's good on Venom. I think we talked a little bit, so I think we can check the box on Stern. I do want to let's change to Labyrinth. I'll talk last on that. Craig, you shared your thoughts first on Venom. So let's go ahead. Gary and Ed, let's go ahead with you guys. What were your initial thoughts on Labyrinth?
Well, Labyrinth is a theme that I'm a little more into. Growing up, Jim Henson was in my household in many different ways, and Labyrinth was a film I grew up with. So I immediately connected with the machine myself personally. I love all the little touches on this game that it has to offer right out of the gate. I kind of saw right away how many attention to detail moments there were, and there was quite a few. In general, I felt that it shot nicely. I felt great about hitting my shots. I didn't feel that things were too difficult or frustrating. I kept wanting to, keep playing more if I could, but obviously there's a line. There was a long line the whole time. Every time we went to the booth there, even though at one point they actually had moved machines around away from their main booth and tried to get around in the actual expo itself, which was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've heard people complain about some of the music. I'm sure that might get updated later on. Last but not least, I think the layout and the overall playfield art was just stunning to see in general. Gary, what did you think?
I thought it was a really great shooter. It's definitely it's not super fast paced, so it's definitely you've got stuff you need to do and plan to get your shot to. It's a little more of a thinking shot game, so it isn't like a big flow monster style game.
Yeah.
The theme integration seemed great. I mean, we did talk to a little birdie that knows a lot about the sound on it. And apparently, a lot of the sound effects are not the production game either at Expo. So that stuff, you probably have an improved code set in there on the one you have at home there. I did like the fact that they put in like mechs that just do stuff for atmosphere, like the little fiery that pops out and taunts you out of the
back here.
After you break your ball,
little
Or
touches like that. I like in a game. It's like that kind of reminds me of stuff that companies would do in the 90s. We're going to put this mech in, hey, no fear, we got a giant skull that just talks to you.
Yeah.
It does nothing else except give atmosphere to the game. I did really like that kind of stuff in it. So, and as far as a first effort game, I thought it was outstanding.
It really is good. Ray, I'm glad you like watching Jared and I play Labyrinth. We're doing our best. So good, but it's all positive. You're saying, Gary and Ed, your initial impression was all positive.
Yeah, I ran through. Actually, had a really good game. I got to kind of the later in the code and I found ran into some bugs because I actually put up a really good score on it.
Nice.
If at Expo, if we would have had budget and we were looking to buy another game, this is the game I would have.
Because it also feels like there's a lot more to unpack with it. That's the other thing that I think intrigues me is it, much like the movie, where you're kind of going from one thing to the next. You're not sure what's going to happen in a labyrinth. you're going to have a fun time discovering all these things. Because again, like you're showing the picture here, you got the
Yeah.
little guy popping out of the
Ludo.
Yeah.
and so forth. So that's something else that I'm really hoping for in a pinball machine is discovering these things,
Moments.
these moments
Yeah.
that whether it's through other shots that I haven't thought of or otherwise, and that it's like a playground.
I mean, I didn't really have much attachment to the Labyrinth theme
Mhm.
because I grew up a little earlier than when this came out. So, but I thought because we watched the movie actually before we went to Expo to remind ourselves what
Who
it
didn't?
was. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. No, I totally get it. No, good. Well, good. I'll share my opinion last because I've played this game a lot. But
Oh.
yes. But Josh, what were your thoughts? Your initial playthrough of Labyrinth or playing of Labyrinth? And apparently, your answer, according to Ray Day, is it's boring and too easy. Apparently, that's every pinball machine for you. That's what he said. Yeah.
So maybe it is. I don't. No, I don't find all pinball boring, and I'm trying not to humble brag. Like I know that Ray Day's like, oh, Josh, just humble brag on just blowing up every game. Coming from the man that was #1 in pinball competition for what So
No,
I
that's
don't know if
just
he's
Ray.
like
That's
making
why
fun
we
of me or if he's making
No,
fun of himself.
That's just Ray.
No,
Yeah, that's why we
I love
Ray.
Ray.
Yeah.
Ray Day is awesome. If you haven't checked out his Ray show, and Ray Day is just an awesome guy. But as far as Labyrinth goes, it is a fantastic first showing. Like I can't remember a pinball company launching and having this strong of a game coming out of the gate. I know that we talk Woz, and Woz did redefine pinball and like advance it.
Mm-hmm.
But this Labyrinth game is almost like taking the beauty of the 90s and taking that nostalgia and that feel for that and wrapping it in a modern take. It's funny because I was listening to the interview and that back screen wasn't originally the plan. They had like some mechs, kind of like the monkey from the Wizard of Oz that they were going to do, but it was cheaper to do the screen. I think that's actually better.
Yeah.
The game plays really well. I was really enjoying it. It was hard to kind of hear it a little bit. I mean, Expo, people were being loud and yada yada, but I really enjoyed the game. The flippers I feel like they should be just a hair stronger, but that's just me. I don't know if they were turned up or turned down at the convention.
They were turned all the way up because of the convention. But I will say I brought a convention game home and they actually seemed too strong. And that's what I learned from David Van Est was like, oh, we have them turned up because of convention. Like reset, basically he said reset the coil utility and it'll set the power back to where they feel is the correct power. So
maybe that's what it was. Yeah. I felt like there was a little clunk, but I couldn't tell if it was because they were too strong or because it seemed like I couldn't hit a couple of shots just because they weren't going as smoothly when I was flipping. Mm-hmm. But I think overall I liked just little things like the diverter on the left side that diverts it back behind the ramp.
Yeah.
And lets you breathe for a second. And there's just something about this game that's very unique. I know that some people are like holding off. Honestly, with the 1100, I think they sold a lot of them. I know there's maybe a handful left, but seriously, this game is pretty impressive for a first run.
You can't buy them anymore straight from Barrels of Fun, but I'm pretty sure Zach is flipping out. I think you can reach out to him. I think he still has some available.
This is the test of a good game, and this is me. If I play your game, and I'll admit it, I've never seen Labyrinth before.
Yeah.
And the game gets me excited enough that I do want to watch the movie. Unless if I've been seriously forewarned, like, The Shadow or Giant Mnemonic.
I mean, I will be honest. I had never seen Labyrinth until they announced the game, and I was like, okay, I should probably watch the movie just to catch up, Yeah. And my takeaway from the movie was I love Jim Henson. I love Muppets. I love everything like that. The puppetry in it is great. But Sarah, the main character, is just a whiny brat. That's kind of her thing. That's kind of her.
Like, good thing she got kidnapped.
But I mean, that's the whole plot of like she is a whiny brat that's only thinking about herself, and then her stepbrother gets kidnapped, and so she's got to put his needs above hers, and it's kind of a finding yourself kind of thing. But it's weird. It is a very odd movie.
They were definitely on something when
Yes,
they
it
wrote
is
that.
very
yeah.
strange.
If you get David Bowie involved, I
know,
mean, come
yeah.
on, it's got to be
Yeah.
strange, right?
It is very
true.
strange. But if you set that aside, you can really look at it for like it is graphically really impressive for the time. The puppets are incredible. I could get it. Like I understand why this movie was beloved by people that watched it at that era. Do I think this is a movie that like my kids will one day latch onto? I don't know, but I get it. Like, and now that I've seen the movie, the theme integration of the pin is really good. Really, really
Mhm.
good. So if you like the movie, you will like this game. There's
Yeah.
no way around it. Craig, what were your thoughts?
Well, a lot of you, I agree 100% with everything you guys have said. Is that screen in the back there, Joel?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that an LED
LCD.
screen? Like,
Yeah,
sorry, LCD? Do they and they flash information back there
they
occasionally
do.
too, right?
They
Scores and
do.
Yeah.
stuff like
And
that. Yeah.
it's getting better. They have unique videos now for every mode. Initially the original code didn't, but
Mm-hmm.
they've made so the when you're in the bog mode, there is different graphics back there
Yeah,
compared
I
to
love
the
that.
oubliette mode.
Mhm.
But it tells you, if you have that and a multi-ball going, there's information on
Yeah.
what you to do in the multi-ball and what
Which
you
is
should do in the mode.
awesome.
It is
So
very
much easier to
useful.
look at,
Yeah.
like versus looking
Oh,
up at the regular LCD screen.
Yeah, that's like Circus
Yeah.
Voltaire
Mhm.
right
Yeah.
there. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
really. But like you said, Joel, the integration of this game is top notch. The art is fantastic. I love that they went with one trim level for this game, kind of a take
Yeah.
it or leave it
Yeah.
approach. And really, you can see they kind of poured everything into it, and they didn't. They didn't leave anything off.
Yeah.
It felt like, like a lot of the stuff that people complain about in terms of the quality of the art or the mechs or it just looks they look hand painted, a lot of this stuff.
It is, yeah. These sculpts,
And
yeah.
it just lots of little surprising things. I think, like Gary and Ed said, it's one of those games where you definitely wanted more time with to explore it and to experience it. Especially with the volume levels there, just to hear the soundtrack, because they did get David Bowie, and it's a campy, fun sort of movie that's over the years, I think, has developed a little bit of a cult following, just because it is so campy and dated, I think,
Mhm.
and has a very unique late 80s early 90s vibe about it, when Jim Henson was at his the top of his game with Dark Crystal in this movie. um so, it's fantastic. I, like everyone else, was super surprised to see this game. If I was a Stern executive and I was walking around that place, I would say, this company is probably the one that, if and they don't really have a worry, but if there was one company that I would be paying very close attention to, it would be Barrels of Fun, for sure.
Yeah.
Because again, their price point is targeted right at that Stern premium, and with a company like Jersey Jack, they're more into the sort of LE and above zone as far as the price point is concerned. And I do think, for what you get in this game and for the uniqueness of it, I think it is very well priced, and kind of just hits that right in that Stern premium sweet spot.
Mhm.
So I think it's exciting. I mean, I think for the first time I got the vibe, which was like, okay, now we got some potential competition here for a Stern premium again. And I think it's a very interesting time in this hobby right now with everything that's come out this year. So lots to be excited about. That topper is fantastic as well.
Yeah.
The three-head
Yeah.
topper. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it looks like they pulled that thing right out of Jim Henson's studio. And in person, it looks it looks even better. The eyes light up red. The only thing that could have made him even better is if they actually talked or
The
like
mouse
moved.
moved, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Apparently
But
they move like side to side,
a
but
little bit, yeah.
and I saw on Pinside, Eric Primke, the guy who's coding the game, said there was a bug in their topper code, so it actually wasn't moving correctly
As
or
much.
as
Okay.
much as it should. So that's
Yeah.
something that they are going to continue to develop for sure or do more of. Um, yeah, I
What do
agree
you
with
think, Joe? I
every.
mean, you've had it
I've had this
enough that
game for weeks and put a lot of time on it. I'm really, really enjoying the game. My
Mhm.
brother is loving this game. And the build quality, I've had. Okay, company wise, this is my disclaimer, right? Because this is a brand new company, and so if for some odd reason this company just goes belly up, I don't want to be accused of knowing anything or shilling or anything. Like I don't, but all I know is my experience with the company and the people in the company have all been great. I've been,
Mhm.
talking to Bowen Cairns or Phil Grimaldi in the background on rules, and they're almost like
Really
bouncing
good guys.
ideas off of me. Eric Primke has sent me code directly because hey, we fixed this. I've found bugs that I've communicated with them and they've fixed. So like it's cool to see in the README files of the code updates, like I found that, like it's cool to be involved in that way, but they're there, they're responsive, they are quick, they're clearly passionate about this game. But my overall, yes, build quality has been exceptional. Updating the code is painless. It's you turn the game on, you put a USB stick in, you just put a file onto a USB stick, you plug it in, and it does it all automatically. It is a painless thing. Really, I've had zero issues with it mechanically. The only things I've had, and these are things they've fixed, are, and I brought this up. This wire form right here is awesome. But the ball, if you hit it too fast, it can kind of bounce and then it falls off. And that's something that I've had where, this left flipper, I actually wanted to turn down the power because if you hit this shot directly and you hit it with too much speed, that ball can fall off the wire form. Luckily, it registers the shot because the opto is here. But I was frustrated by that. They've already made a fix for it. They've already remade this like plastic piece that
Oh.
goes right here to
Nice.
help keep the ball down on that. And then there's another plastic piece over here that'll keep the ball on the wire form. So they've already fixed that. There's also a ball hang up spot over here. They've made a new plastic for. So it's like mechanical issues that I've had, they fixed. So as soon as they do that, I will actually turn up my flipper power again on this left flipper because when you first start playing the game, you can backhand this left ramp. But as the game goes on, then this flipper gets a little weaker with heat, just like any other pinball machine. You can't backhand it. So that's where I actually want to turn up the power a little bit. So the overall layout, I've had a lot of fun. This right horseshoe shot is still a tight shot, but it's tight but findable, one of those things. And it's a dangerous shot. If you hit this shot and the diverter in the back is not up, it can shoot the ball right down the middle. So you got to be aware of that. So it's kind of, it's frustrating in a way, but it's also kind of cool to have a shot that you got to like be aware of or cautious of. But the modes are what really draw me into this game. I'm not saying anything bad about Venom, but I'm saying, you turn on Venom, what are you doing? You're doing mini modes. You're shooting combos. Like you're just shooting combos. That's what you're doing before you get into the fun modes. The mode, you just have to hit 3 shots. It doesn't matter. Any 3 shots, it'll spell Labyrinth. You can see your progression on the back panel. But once you've done that, you can either hit the left side of the horseshoe, the right side of the horseshoe, or this middle scoop. Any of those 3 shots to start the mode. But every mode is fun, and they're unique, and they tell a story. And that's what I have really been drawn to, because there's no confusion of like what I'm doing in the mode. What I mean by telling a story is like the knockers mode. If you actually watch the movie, you're like talking to the left knocker, and then the right knocker, you're talking to him, then you're trying to pull the knocker out of his mouth. Then once you do that, you have to put it back in his mouth, and then you have to knock, and then you have to open the door. That's like the sequence of the movie. And so they did that in the game where you initially have to hit a shot on the left side, then you end up shooting a shot on the right side. So left knocker, then right knocker. Then you have to get the knocker in his mouth. So then you're shooting this. It's like you're doing on the playfield what is happening in the scene. And there's something about that just draws me in. And same thing with the bog mode. You're hitting very specific shots because you don't want to touch the green because then you're forever unclean. Or the oubliette mode, where every shot in this game, because the diverters change. So you actually, the first time you hit this left ramp, it comes back to the flipper. But then the next time the ramp flap is up, so you're hitting under it. or I really like this right orbit because it either is an orbit that goes all the way around, or there's a little post that pops up, and so the ball will get diverted under the ramp. It's just anytime a game has modes like that that really feel like you're experiencing a progressive story type line, just really draws me in. So that's what I love about this game is the modes are unique, the modes are fun, the layout is dynamic because of the way things are changing, and I've just been really impressed by how much the code is progressing and changing. And then there's a whole other, this whole friend system actually brings in a whole nother fun thing with scoring and whatnot. So this is a game, I don't care about the theme at all. It's not a theme I'm passionate about, but let's say this would have been something like the Muppets or something that I am more connected to, I'd be in trouble at this point. Like this would be a game I wouldn't want to leave if it was a theme that I cared more about. So my main takeaway from this game is I think the game's incredibly well done, but I'm really excited for Barrels of Fun to see what's coming out next. And and for them to have such a strong showing with their first game. Normally we've talked about this before, that if you're a brand new company, your first pin, just get a game made. Just get something made, get it out the door, show that you're real, even if it's unlicensed, just show what you're about. And then, once we build a little trust, then game 2, game 3, that's when you can really go for it. They just crushed it on game 1.
Yeah.
So game 2 and game 3 may be awesome, even better. I don't know.
Yeah. One thing they did have the hood up. They were showing some people. What I actually liked was the fact that they didn't decide to engineer all of their own electronics.
Yeah.
They're just using the fast boards, which are done, reliable, and proven. So they didn't bite off more than they could chew. It's like, we need to do the programming, we need to do the game layout and the artwork, but they don't need to engineer the circuit boards.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. Well, I'm glad. So we all had good experiences. What it sounds like. Our initial impressions were good, and I know luckily I've had the ability to go further than initial. I've actually been able to dive deep into the game, and I'm still absolutely loving the game.
We're good.
I think it proves one thing though. Just really quickly, we've been talking about price and economy. Economy's kind of going down and yada yada, right? But this game just came out at 12.6 from a brand new company that's never been seen before. Or sorry, 10.6. Did I say 12? 10.6. And it sold out almost immediately. 1,000 games is pretty impressive in this day and age with the economy the way it is and whatnot. And so for them to do what they did, I think people can see and feel when something feels real and looks authentic. And I hate to bag on these guys, but look at Turner Pinball with Ninja Eclipse, which was at Expo. Yeah. But they're asking $9,800, which is a Stern Pro price, and it looks like a glorified Zizzle to me. There would be no way I'd drop $9,800 on Turner Pinball's Ninja Eclipse. Yet with Labyrinth, I'd consider the 10.6. It's a great game. Yeah. Like Joel was saying, if this was a theme that spoke to me, I'd be in trouble. I think I'd have to put something down on it because it's just a really, really well put together game. And so I think that's where, even I'd hate to throw Venom in with this pot, but I feel like Venom feels a little stripped down, right? Especially on the Pro. And so with Labyrinth, you're in that ballpark of a premium. You're a little more, or $900 more, but you're still. It feels authentic. It feels like There's no mech on there outside of. You got the little fun mechs in there, but there's no mech that actually messes with the gameplay that you're just like, oh my goodness, that's so unique, that's so different. But I mean, it feels like it's worthy of the price. I'll put it that way.
It's the speaker lights that come standard. That's what coming back to our initial. My only complaint with the game is the voice call outs suck. I mean, the voice acting in the game is piss poor at best. I'm joking. Mark Silk is in chat. Mark Silk actually did the call outs. No,
you had me fooled, Joel.
No, they're great.
Kind of like them.
Yeah. No, they're actually very good. And so good to the point where I don't know exactly what is from the movie versus isn't. I know a lot of the fiery call outs. I mean, maybe Mark can answer that. Besides the fireys, how much I think he actually does some David Bowie ish thing. I don't. It does. That's the thing. It's not obvious. It's not obvious
Mm.
to me, and that really keeps me immersed in the game. Well,
I like it too, Joel, where you were talking about that bog mode where Bluto is going across on the stumps or whatever they are to get
yeah, the
across the
rocks.
bog, and
Yep.
he stops before every shot. So when you complete a shot, he takes another step, but he hangs there kind of waiting for you. And I
Yeah.
just thought the way they did that video sequence, like you said, Joel, it's just very engaging, right? So you
Mhm.
really want to make that next shot to see him take the next step, and not make a mistake on that whole
So,
sequence. So I thought it was really well
and
done.
the other thing that's really clever about the bog mode is they say it in the movie that if you touch the green bog, you're forever unclean. Like you are forever unclean. Well, now in the code, this was not there at Expo, but if you happen to hit, so when you're in that mode, there is a lit orange shot, and then the shots surrounding it are green. So if you hit the wrong shot, you hit the green mode, boom, you failed. You to get through the mode, you just have to hit 5 shots. You could fail it totally. It doesn't make sense, but that's how you get through the mode. But if you hit any green shot, you failed. The moment you hit a green shot, your score on the score display turns green. And it actually has this like stench kind of animation above it. And it's there the rest of the game. Like it is a permanent thing on your character, on your profile, the rest of the game. And if you get a high score and your initials are on the high score table, your score is still green. It is a permanent change. And I just think
Wow.
that's just a funny little thing that they sprinkled in there, which is pretty cool. Mervin, no interest in Elton John or Lab, but I have Labyrinth on order now. Sounds fantastic, dude. It's really good. It's really good. But speaking of which, so Elton John, that's the next game to talk about. What Craig's gone first, Ed and Gary went first. So Josh, you go first. This is actually fitting because Josh and I actually had
Here we go.
we somehow got the invite to play before other people. Josh, initial experiences with Elton John, or thoughts on Elton John.
I do feel very fortunate and lucky. I want to thank Jersey Jack Pinball for giving me and Joel
Yeah,
that
Ken
was
Conrails specifically. Yeah,
that was an amazing opportunity. And like I don't know, I guess I've preached this all along, but like a little respect goes a long way, right? Like anywho, I respect Jersey Jack and Ken for what they're doing. It was amazing. It was okay. I know the elephant in the room, like the price 12, 5 and 15, right? Like let's just
Yeah,
get that out of the
it's a
way.
lot of
Like
money.
it is what it is. Let's talk about the game, because I feel like once we push the elephant out of the room, the art on this. Okay, can we talk about Christopher Franchi for a second? This man has released 3 games, not
3
one, not
games
2,
this
but
year.
3
Yeah,
games in
yeah.
2023. The man is gonna have the ticket loaded for the upcoming award show. I know he's excited for that, but
Which I will say, we will probably do a chatting stream before Twippy votes open, and I've already kind of started this thought process in my head. Like best art package, just think about. Everybody needs to start thinking about that
Gonna be
now,
brutal.
because
Yeah.
it is going to be like Chris
Brutal.
Franchi has 3. Just sorry, I know this is a total. Sorry, Josh, we gotta let you finish,
good.
but you have Elton John, because they should be shipping soon, so I think Elton John fits. Elton John, Godfather, GTF.
Galactic,
That's
yep.
Franchi. Then you have Zombietti has 2 of his own. He has Foo Fighters and Venom. I mean, those 5 alone are all really great art packages.
Yeah.
And then Labyrinth is shipping. So Labyrinth is in there with Johnny Crap. That's 6. And those are just off the top of my head. I know there's more. I know there's more games.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, any of those 6 could have won best art package any other year. Like, they are 6 stellar art packages. So start thinking now, because by Twippy voting in a month from now, that's not going to be a quick and easy decision in my mind. But so go ahead, Josh.
Well, I know with our last Loser Kid episode, if you haven't listened, go and listen to it. Will Otting from
Scooby Doo.
Twippy does come on.
Scooby Doo is in there too.
Yeah. He said there's 16 games on the list, and that's all. A lot of it's art,
Wow.
because you've got Elvira's 60th. You know, you got games like that. Jurassic Park 30th, because those are different art packages.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Franchi though. Not to take anything away from John Yowsey, I really feel like they should have put the Franchi artwork on the LE.
So what you're saying is this artwork, this is the CE. So this artwork
CE.
on the side is John Yowsey.
Yes.
While
So John
the
Yossi
artwork
and
on
the other
LE,
gentleman
this is Chris Franchi.
on the Platinum Edition. That's what they're calling it now. It's not the LE, it's the Platinum Edition. So Platinum is you don't see it here, but Franchi took it, and it is Elton John and like a bunch of stuff on one side. And you flip it is Elton John, but it's like a different outfit. Like for some odd reason on the collector's edition, it's kind of mirrored, which is fine. Like I get it. Like that's what they were doing. But looking at Christopher Franchi's, there's so much put into the artwork just for the Platinum on both sides. Go to This Week in Pinball or Nap Arcade. I guarantee they got better pictures of this on there.
Which is funny because that is Jersey Jack's site.
Yeah, that's Jersey Jack's site.
But it's This Week in Pinball does such a great job with their collection of pictures. But okay.
But it's funny because like I felt like just walking up to it, this thing was beautiful. I'm not an Elton John fan, and I was blown away. The lighting's great on it. The first thing that caught my eye was the color DMD that's scrolling across the piano.
Oh,
you can't miss
on
that
the
thing.
piano. Yeah, you can kind of see it here, but it's a DMD screen that is communicating information to you throughout the game. Yeah, right there.
You know, it was funny because Joel, the room that we were in, the people that were there were more worried about the free drinks than they were about playing the game. So you and I got some time in on this game.
Yeah.
And so first flip, you could tell from the flipper power was up. I know that we just had Jack Guarneri on. He said nothing's changed. Something has changed about their flipper power because it shot snappy. Great. Yeah, they're snappy. I felt like I could hit shots when I was aiming for them. It shot really well. It is Steve Ritchie's greatest hit. I don't know what else you call it with this layout. I mean, it's Star Trek. It's Star Trek Next Generation skim down. It's what other ones? Led Zeppelin. Like, it's the same.
Yeah, you look at this layout. I mean, honestly, we walked away, even communicating to Bill Grupp and some of the other people there, just trying to understand the rules. I kept calling this the warp ramp, and that is what this is. And what did he calls it the piano ramp. I finally, after saying to them, 5 times, I was like, warp ramp. Yeah. Okay. So you hit the warp ramp. I said, what are you calling it? And they go, we're calling it the piano ramp, which makes sense because that is how you lock balls in the piano once that opens up. Otherwise it comes around and I think it feeds the upper flipper. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Adam Streeter put it perfectly. Someone's, they said that the power was up on Godfather, but Elton John just felt right, and I agree with that. It just feels it's smooth. It just hitting that middle, that upper ramp, the warp ramp, if that's what you want to call it.
Piano ramp.
The piano ramp.
We'll be politically correct for them or whatever. The piano ramp. Yeah.
It felt smooth as butter. And really, like, honestly, if you really want to nitpick, I don't know. The interesting part that was pointed out to us, but I want to say Eric Meniere, is none of the shots actually come back to the in lanes. They all come back at the flippers.
Yeah, the closest thing to a safe shot is this far left little vuck that'll feed the in lane, or the croc rock. The croc rock lock shot is essentially the safest shot in the game. Those are the only 2 games that actually safely return to your flipper.
But they're both skinny, and that vuck on the left is it's a dangerous shot. It's tight. Yeah. And so this game, even though it felt like a long player to me, it still felt like it was very challenging. Really, honestly, if you're an Elton John fan, I think you're happy with this game.
Oh yeah.
Overall, I don't know. I was determined. Eric Meniere told us about a secret mode where if you started Crocodile Multi-Ball and Rocket Man, you got Crockett Man Multi-Ball. Yep. And I was so focused on getting that, and I finally got it, and it was pretty goofy. It was pretty fun. I don't know. I had fun playing this, and honestly, I haven't played Godfather yet. Sorry, Eric. But
it was at the show.
I know it was at the show, but I was so addicted to Elton John, I never played Godfather. But I feel like since this is the first time I've played, not the first time, this is, playing Jersey Jack, I felt like this was just like a new experience. And I feel like the rest of them have been kind of samey. This one felt, even though it was very samey, like Kerry Hardy agreed with me, it's Richie's greatest hits layout. even though it is like, it still felt kind of fresh because of the way that they did the artwork, the way that the shots come back at you, all that
Sure.
jazz. So, and the code felt good too. So,
Yeah, I'm with you. I got a lot of positive things to say about my initial experience here. Well, I'll wait for last, but Ed and Gary, thoughts on Elton John?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you first walk up to the game, the art package looks great, and
Yes.
it's shiny, it's sparkly. We played the platinum edition, so it had the additional little glitter in there.
Yep.
It's a really pretty game, and it, as it actually, yeah, to us, it actually felt a lot like a Star Trek layout.
Yep.
But it played really really smoothly. I actually was putting up a pretty good game. I had people coming to watch it on it, so I thought it was a fun shooter. There wasn't anything like 100 really difficult. But most importantly, this is the first game that Jersey Jack has made that I like the flippers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the speed and the gameplay that comes with the flippers, that's the
think
that's
that
the thing that I noticed right away
I
too.
think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and again, this is another theme that I personally like because I grew up listening to Elton John, all throughout the decades, honestly. With that being said, I think there's so much there that you can easily fall in love with and just have a lot of fun because all the music that Elton John has put out is very uplifting and positive and just a whole lot of fun. And I'm glad that they grabbed songs like Crocodile Rock and smashed modes together and to have that all that excitement on the screen as well. It's definitely a crowd pleaser.
I agree. I totally agree with all that. Yeah, this is a game. I would say my biggest negative of the game was they only brought 3 to the show. Like it was, it was absolutely a game that when I finished, and maybe that was it. I think we've all had, and Craig, I'll ask you, but we all had good games. Like we all played.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's a very accessible or approachable game in the way it's shot. So, and it's shot very, Steve Ritchie knows where to put a shot. Like it felt familiar in a way, and so all of us had good first experiences flipping this game. It wasn't a punch in the nuts or anything like that.
Yeah.
It actually, we all had good experiences. So because of that, when you walk away feeling like you're good or decent at the game, you want to play it more. And that's what sucked is all of us waited in line probably over 30 minutes to actually play it. And then you had a great experience, but you're like, I want to play it again, but I'm not. I got to wait another 30 or minutes or more.
Yeah.
So this is a game, and I see Zach is there. Sounds like Joel needs to start streaming it. I understand I'm in a unique situation, but I walked away from this game going, I am very excited to stream this game. Like I'm very excited to have this in my house to dive way deep into it because it shoots great. It looks great. It sounds great.
Yeah.
I know this is going to be a fun game to dive into. But yeah, Craig, what were you said you
Well,
played it a bunch
I
there.
think
Yeah.
I'm going to take it a step further and say what you will about the theme because I know beyond like Josh said the elephant in the room of the price. Theme is going to be the next one where people are going to go, Elton John, I mean, I'm a huge music fan. I grew up listening to Elton John, not every day, but, he was definitely on the radio and definitely a part of the music that was being played in the car with my parents and so forth. I actually, so let's put that aside because that's going to be a turnoff for it. If I was going to be designing a music pin, would Elton John be even in the top 10 of artists that I would throw on a pinball machine that I would want? No.
Yeah.
But when I stepped up to this game and started playing it, I'm telling you, right now, I think it is Jersey Jack's best shooting game with like not even close to any of their other titles. I think it is such a fantastic shooter and so fun to start playing. And you, much like Labyrinth, actually, I do feel like you're pulled into the music and sort of world and over the top craziness of Elton John. And Joel, like you were saying, the shots just draw you into this game so that right off the bat, when you start making shots and they feel good and the flippers feel fantastic, and all of a sudden you're like, shit, I really started. I'm liking a Jersey Jack game. I'm not feeling like, oh, it's too weak. The ball plunge is kind of like, like what are we doing? And this is no offense to some of the Guns N' Roses, because I love Guns N' Roses, right? But wasn't it nice to step up to a music pin and have music playing instantly? You don't have to collect all the band members to then maybe get into a game. And we played that. I played GNR a lot during one of the parties at Expo, and that was the thing that was so frustrating about it. It's like, I just want to get into a GNR song here because I love this band, and I was getting more and more frustrated about not remembering what band members to collect or what shots I had to have to make. And there's a lot to get into an actual song.
Yeah, 7.
With GNR, yeah, which is a lot, especially when you don't know what you're doing on a pinball machine. And so bottom line is, I actually think, again, and people are gonna not. This is a bit of a take here that people aren't going to agree with, but I do think this is actually Steve Ritchie's best game by far, because he has put his greatest shots in this game. All of them are there, and when you're playing the game, you don't even you're reminded of it, but you're having so much fun, it doesn't matter. And the mechs that he's put into it, I just thought this game was a real sleeper hit of the show. And again, I think a lot of people probably walked past this game because they were like, oh, Elton John, I'm not an Elton John fan, or it's so whatever, 70s, 80s. But I'm telling you, when you start to play this game, it really draws you in, and I just thought it was a fantastic effort on Jersey Jack's part. I think when people get their hands on this game and start to see it and play it on location, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people with this game. The lineups were just like Labyrinth, long the entire Expo. Yes, they only had 3 games, but I'm telling you, there were a lot of other machines there that with the same number of games where you could get into them very easily. This one, we had to wait like 20 minutes, half an hour easily each time to play it. And anyway, I thought the whole effort was fantastic, and I enjoyed the heck out of this game. I again, money aside, I would have this in my collection, no problem, no problem at all.
I agree with pretty much everything you're saying. I'm gonna tell you right now, when my brother and I go to stream the game, we're gonna make this happen. By the way, I'm gonna have Jared play the game, and I'm gonna lift up his feet, in the back, just so he can have this.
Pinball Olympics should have this next year, where you're like elevated up and you're playing. I
do need to give a shout out. Christopher Franchi is in chat. Chris, we were talking about it earlier. What you've done this year with the 3 art package, Twippy voting is going to be incredibly difficult between all 3 of your art packages. But no, the game, I agree with everything that you guys are saying. This is a theme that I mean, it's right there with next to Labyrinth. I didn't care about it. I know Elton John, I know his music, but it's just like, meh. But this is the game that, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that game looks fun. You plunge. That's a brilliant thing you said, Craig, which I haven't actually thought of. The fact that you're plunging a game and immediately enjoying the music. Like Foo Fighters does that well. Rush does that well. Led Zeppelin does that well. GNR, you're right. I actually kind of showed Craig at Expo how to play GNR, and it's a lot of work that you have to do 7 shots before you get into a song. Now, once you get into a song, don't get me wrong. Once you get into a song in GNR, fantastic. It's insane. It is insane, and it's a great experience. But for this to just immediately, boom, you're in it, you're playing. It's a familiar layout where the shots all seem fun and accessible. And then the next question is, well, how do you play it, or what are you trying to do? Just reading the play field. It says like light lock, so you hit this shot, and then you can tell, oh, I'm supposed to lock him at the cross.
You're spelling Elton John. You're spelling Elton.
And then you see over, the rocket on the right, like it's like, well, that kind of looks like a weird shot, and then you hit it, and everybody here hit that shot, right? The way it takes the ball and it launches it around, and then squiggles. There's a whole light show following the ball, and it squiggles around and then feeds. Like, what a unique and fun shot! Like, that's the shot. That, if my wife comes to play this, I'll be like, try your best to wait on that flipper, just hit it right on the tip and see if you can get that ball in that rocket, just to experience that shot. Now, I will say, to lock balls in the piano is a lot of work. You have to spell Elton John. It's a lot of shots. So that's going to be, unfortunately, that's a mech that a lot of people aren't going to experience, like novice players aren't going to experience. But if you do that, it is a very cool thing to do. There's just a lot on here that I agree with a lot of what you're saying. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. I've had a lot of people ask. They're like, well, it's Jersey Jack. Did you just fall into a multi-ball? You know, that's their thing. You know, did you just trip and you're now in a multi-ball? The answer is no. The answer is no. This game, you have to earn the multi-balls in this game, for sure. Yeah, well, I see. So, side note, Chris said here, thank you, boys. I really appreciate that. And on Thanksgiving Eve, I'm very thankful. I get so much love in this hobby. You all are so much love. Thank you. So, yes, Chris, keep doing what you're doing, man. You're crushing it. Yes, please.
Well,
keep it going. Go ahead.
Like you were saying. Oh, sorry, Gary. The code is so accessible on this game too that I feel like, you know, there's depth in it, but it just allows you to understand very quickly doing a few basic things like spelling out Elton John's name or hitting that crocodile lock in there just to get you off the ground and having some fun. So they did a great job, I think, just again making it very accessible.
Yeah.
The only complaint I have about Elton John is I don't know why they're trying to wait to add more assets, but the weird star swipe as you're playing, it feels kind of outplaced to the game.
Oh, well.
Oh, the transitions, you mean?
Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, here's another picture of Elton John. Oh, here's anher picture of Elton John.
There's a lot in there.
Well, I mean, it's named Elton John.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that.
I thought his call-outs.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I thought his call-outs, too, were a little underwhelming. And I thought one of the things that Rush did so well was they, you know, when they had and whose name is escaping me, the guy, the lead singer from Ed Robertson, sit with Getty and Alex and really explain to them what a pinball machine is, or not what it is, but what it is today, and how these call outs really enhance and get them to bring their energy. And I really felt Elton was more like, it was almost like I felt like they either he was doing something else and they just kind of threw a microphone in front of him because welcome, and it was just very, I thought, under a low key and a little bit underwhelming to the point where I even missed him the first time I played. I'm like, is Elton John even in this game?
Well, it's really hard to judge audio at an expo. Yeah. But I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of my.
But I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
So once again, it sounds like all of us had a very similar experience. And if the lines would have been shorter, I know we all would have put more time on the pin, because
yes,
there is something to that. A very approachable layout, and sure, I had Bill Grupp explain to me in detail how to play the game, and Eric Minier as well. So now that I know that, I'm excited to dive deeper into this code, and I'll. Yeah, so I have no idea, longevity of the game or how fun it is to really get into the game. I don't know. I just said my initial impressions of the game were very positive, and it definitely has some wow factor to draw in people. So I do think this is a game potentially that will do well on location. But yeah, 12.5, it's hard to fork over 12.5 to put a game on location.
What's the joke right now? Like, wait for like 3 months and someone will sell it to you for down. 9 or whatever. It just
maybe. Gary, what were you saying?
Oh, I was gonna say, Expo, we are one of our local places. We saw the guy that runs it there, and he bought an Elton John.
Oh, he's in.
He was so like pleased.
He wasn't planning on it either. Yeah,
he had no intention of doing it.
Yeah.
Well, it really has that just wow between the art, the light show. I mean, Elton John is out there, and this game is out there. I mean, this game will suck you in. Now, if you go one step further and get that the topper, I know Josh got some really good video of the topper on the high end model. That thing's shooting lasers at the ceiling, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but, you can check that out on Loser Kids YouTube. So I guess that's the only good footage they've had of that topper, because all the shows they take it to, they have to put that like little white umbrella over it.
Yeah.
you can't really. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it kind of washes it out. I mean, if we had
Mhm.
one of those that had the top, we'd have to put it on the floor and blind ourselves. 'Cause those
Oh,
things
yeah,
are
yeah.
short.
Well,
It's definitely made for a darker room either way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did just see this has gone really fast. We're almost out of time already, which is kind of crazy. So
Wow.
I do know there's a few other, let's just real fast rapid fire. Maybe like one sentence reviews. Here we go. So one sentence reviews of Elemental. Craig, did you play it?
I did not play it. I walked by it and I just kept on walking.
Okay, great
So
review.
that's my
Josh, you got a one sentence review of Elemental?
that's my one sentence review. Just keep on walking.
Yeah.
overpriced homebrew that doesn't work.
Okay, Ed and Gary.
Infinity Mirror is intriguing. I want to see what happens when they improve it.
Yeah,
Okay.
code was just terrible.
You guys
shot-
actually saw it?
we actually played it.
Yeah, we actually
Yeah.
played it. They had the glass off, and
Yeah.
you had to shove balls in because it wasn't going in the trough all the way. So obviously they were still working on it.
There were,
But you know,
and the flippers were too weak.
Yeah.
I my one sentence, it's a homebrew. Is where it's at, and that's it's a homebrew with no offense to homebrews. Like it's not. There were homebrews there that were definitely better. Which were we'll transition to that. What was it? It's 8-ball.
8-ball beyond.
8-ball beyond. So let's give it a 2-sentence review. 2-sentence review because it's deserving of it. Ed and Gary, what are your thoughts on that?
quite colorful, and it elevates 8-Ball Deluxe quite elegantly. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoyed the game. It gave me TNA vibes as
Nice.
far as like the color scheme. The shots seemed to work really well. So we talked to the guy a little bit that brought it. So, and he had been working on that for 3 years.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
All good stuff. Josh, did you have a chance to play it?
I didn't
I know.
weirdly enough.
Yeah.
So
Or Craig, did you play it?
You know what? I didn't play it. It looked intriguing. I was trying to get to it, but every time I went over there, there was always a crowd around it, and I just wasn't patient enough to wait for it. But it looked fun. It looked great.
It's legitimately one of my regrets because I'm the same thing. There was always a crowd around it, but that should have told me something. There's a crowd around this game. I should probably wait in line and play it. I did not play it. The only homebrew I played a few, but the one that stood out to me was the Battle Station one. That was a lot of fun. That was fun.
Unexpectedly a lot of fun. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I don't know the market for it or how there could be. I don't know, but
I think it's similar to like air hockey. In a lot of
it's like
ways
more like air hockey meets Joust.
Crossfire, the board game.
I think with some additional challenge modes and stuff like that, I think that could be a really fun thing. Obviously, that's a casual, be at home with your friends type game.
I think it's a great proof of concept of how do you lay out a pin in a way where you're attacking each other. But I think it's if a company stepped in and they could really improve, actually make the build quality there, some cool art, that could be something really cool. Really cool. Other games. GTF, real quick reviews. I know a lot of us have already played it, unless this was Ed or Gary. Was this your first time playing GTF?
This is our first time.
Our first time.
Okay. I'll give you what you say, whatever you need to. Initial impressions of GTF.
We didn't like the way that the balls return to the flippers when some of it might be just because we're getting better at it. But what we found is when we hit a shot and it would go fine in the shot, but then when it came out,
it just sort of kind of dribbles out randomly instead of a good game. After you've hit a shot, will either bounce to something predictable to a flipper or route it to a flipper. It just kind of went, and then sometimes it would just fall down the middle.
Right. Yeah.
And this is a personal thing. I hate games that have a big blocking thing in the middle. It doesn't matter who made it, what era. You put a big blob in the middle.
So you're saying you're not a fan of Fishtails?
I am not a fan of Fishtails.
So our experience with GTF initially was at Texas Pinball Festival, and at the time, you see a tank, you want to hit the tank. You want to destroy the tank. Why would you not? And that's when it was having all the airball issues to the point where you could hit it and the ball would hit the targets and then fly over the flippers. Like that was a problem that I experienced multiple times. Luckily, that is all fixed. They fixed that, but still, I'm with you. it is a mech that I've been taught even on stream to avoid the tank unless you're in multi-ball. My issue with GTF, and this has now happened on 4 or 5 individual different games that I've played, the right flipper, it gets too weak, or it's like there's only one ramp in the game. It's on the left, and it doesn't have enough power to get up the ramp, and that's how you lock balls.
That was what we'd notice as well. Yeah.
And I don't know what to say about that, because I know like Zach was flipping out. He has one and he freaking loves it. And I know other people, I think Mervin in chat here, I think there are other people that have them in their house and have had really good success or think the game shoots well. So I will continue to play it, but I've yet to stand in front of a physical machine of GTF that I felt was playing well or playing correctly. But I don't know, Josh or Craig, did either of you guys have a different experience with GTF at the show?
I really enjoyed it up until it lost the ball. Like I drained, and then it didn't actually like read that it was there, and short of like turning off the game and starting it over again, we just had to walk away. So it was fun till about midway of ball 2.
Nice. Franchi's saying his signature edition come next week, dude. Franchi, the lunchbox, man. I need to get a lunchbox. I need to buy one. No, the signature editions look really pretty cool. Other side note, Pinballer in chat, he's saying he doesn't do pinball podcasts. He prefers visual. Lucky for you, Triple Drain is on YouTube with visual and Loser Kids. So if you want to look at this while we talk, you could do that. What else do we have? So that was GTF.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you, Joel, my 2 cents of it.
Yep.
I wanted to love this game. I love the art on this game and the look of it. I did not find that this is a great shooting game in general. I don't usually get frustrated with games, but I feel like with American Pinball, because they've been around for as long as they have, I'm getting increasingly frustrated at how poorly their games shoot considering how long they've been around. and so I found that center tank shot incredibly frustrating, and sometimes you didn't want to even hit it, and then it felt like half the time it just came right down the middle after hitting. What game is called GTF, and you can't hit the friggin' tank that's like the biggest mech in the whole damn game? Like, who thought of this? Why is that being rejected when that's like an integral part of moving through certain modes or certain, I don't know. It just frustrated the hell out of me after a while. And so I played a number of games on it, but I found increasingly, kind of like what you guys are saying, sometimes the ball would get stuck. And I just found the ball times were way too short for my liking. It's a very challenging game. So if you like a game with short ball times, I thought this game was one of the shortest I played in terms of for a new title. I just didn't like it at the end of the day. And for a company that's been around as long as they have, I was probably the most disappointed with this game, considering the look and the art is fantastic. Christopher Franchi hit it out of the park again on the art. I mean, you can't fault the look of the game. I just thought they made some odd choices in terms of the layout and some of the coding that they did for this game. Plus, the last thing I'll say is the mechs look horribly 3D printed. Again, another thing that I thought when I'm looking in detail at the things. They're all gray and they're all the same color. Like there's no variation in any of the mechs. It looks like someone just pulled it off and threw it into the game, and they're just all gray with a little bit of white. I thought that was really shoddy as well.
Go ahead, Gary.
I was gonna say all it needs is the tank needed to be, instead of 50% of the playfield, up at like 2/3.
Sure.
Yes.
If they could have moved
it up a bit.
Just back it up a little bit would have made it a lot better.
I get you.
Back it on up.
But it looks like a tank, Craig, says Carrie Hardy.
Yeah, so Pinballer here. God. GTF is my favorite art package this year. Honestly, I love it. I love the way that game looks. Like if I just wanted to buy a game just to have turned on and be a light show and just be an art piece, like GTF is pretty hard to beat. Like that game looks incredible. But unfortunately, I've yet to have an enjoyable playing experience on one, and I want to, and I think it's possible. And the reason I think it's possible is because I've heard of people that really love the game
I've
And
heard rumors
yes,
of people
yes.
having good games
So
on it.
we will see. So that was
I
that was
mean,
GTF.
yeah.
What? Okay, so just yeah. So Spooky was there. Scooby Doo was there. A lot of us have already played that. Ed or Gary, was that new? A new?
That was our first time
Okay,
playing it.
first
too, so.
first experience.
Actually, it was better than I thought from first impressions.
Okay.
I actually was having a lot of fun with the scissor flipper,
It's
chucking
very
the ball
yeah,
over to the
the
side.
bookcase thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So it was pretty good. I mean, neither of us are really big into Scooby Doo as a theme, but I
Mhm.
thought the theme integration was good. Shots are unique. It still falls victim to every shot goes under an upper playfield. So
Hidden
It's
shots.
yeah, you lose sight of the
Hidden
ball,
I
and
hated that.
yeah,
I'm not a big fan of that either. You know, when Halloween and Ultraman came out, that was kind of my big complaint with that. But with that being noticed, you know, I did like some of the other features they did, like the ball lock, where the ball kind of goes down to this
Chucked
weird
up on
little
the
claw
apron
thing,
or
and
up on this like weird stuff. So some of the little quirky things they did were
Mhm.
kind of neat little features,
right.
and it looks pretty. I
Oh,
mean,
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like Scooby Doo. So
Yeah.
And you could select characters. Yeah, I mean, there was a whole lot to it that I felt it was the first time that Spooky had put out a game where I was like, oh, this is okay. This is
Yeah.
getting good. You know.
mhm.
I think it's they're continuing to add to the code too. I think that is a game that is continually being fleshed out with cool and unique modes. So there's a lot they're doing well. But you're right. It's the layout, that upper playfield is huge. There's a lot of hidden shots. You know, those are things you're not going to get around. But I do know people that have them in their house and really love them. So I think it's a good showing. I enjoy Scooby-Doo more than I enjoyed Halloween. That's for sure. But
I hope the QC
a
under the playfield has gotten a lot better because man,
Yeah.
Rick and Morty and TNA are a mess
well,
Oh, you mean the wires and stuff?
underneath. Yeah.
yes,
Oh, yeah,
they've
yeah.
so it's a completely different board system which cleaned all that up apparently.
Oh,
But
good.
But speaking of TNA, I want to do this. Here's a shout out to Don's Pinball Podcast. One thing TNA or not TNA, one thing Spooky has been doing is they've actually been shipping people like Kerry Hardy, who's in chat. He got a box from Spooky. I think Kaneda got a box from Spooky, and then recently Don's Pinball Podcast got a box from Spooky. So Kerry Hardy has a whole video of him unboxing his box, and he got kind of this weird kind of L shape. It almost looks like a ramp thing, but apparently this is a prototype piece that was sent to Don. So it looks like a back panel thing. I don't know. I mean, Don's showing.
Well, it
fits
also looks like the
for-
upper playfield of like Indiana Jones, where balls would fall into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it a weird ball lock? Are the balls just gonna fall in or something?
Yeah.
Okay, Carrie's gonna send me pictures. So once he sends me pictures, I'll pull it up. But but yeah, so it looks like I don't know what this is, but it looks cool. I think I don't know what it is.
Make sure
that-
saying
make
the
sure
skill
those-
shot. It might be the
Yeah.
skill shot where it like falls into one of the
Oh,
holes.
yeah.
like a Tales
on
of the
the
Arabian Night
plunge.
thing. So you
Yeah.
plunge and you're trying to get the ball to fall through a
Yeah.
particular.
Might be, yeah.
Yeah.
Just make sure they're pics of the Scooby or the spooky stuff.
I'm not.
like
Yeah,
Carrie's
I will.
only.
I'll open. I'm going to open Carrie's pictures separately from being on stream. But okay, so that was spooky. What other games? We mentioned it short. We can go back to the one or two sentence reviews real quick. It was Turner Pinball. Josh, you already said what overpriced
Woof.
sizzle.
Woof.
One
Like,
word.
I don't-
One word review.
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Woof. I don't. Ed or Gary, did you play it? Do you?
Well, we
we
had it. I would say I like what they're trying to experiment with, because we talked to one of the guys. They had two different versions. They had one with like upper buttons that did the upper flippers.
Yeah.
Sort of like I
separate-
guess what Multimorphic did for a little while, and then
Then they had stage flippers on the other.
right, they had stage flippers on the other.
And I hate the multiple buttons for multiple flippers.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it.
I'm not a Xbox generation, so
Yeah.
I don't have 17 fingers that can operate buttons.
Here are
but-
Carrie's pictures, by the way. This is
Oh.
thanks for you couldn't have set it on a table, but so this is what was sent.
God.
Yeah,
He did send us OnlyFan pics.
yeah. It's some sort of
Only fans of pinball.
Yeah. It's clearly a trough.
Oh my
thing.
goodness.
But yeah, that was the part that was sent to Carrie. Okay.
You should have had. You got to have some music. Wow, wow.
No, these are long pants too. So he's no. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you for sending. Thank you for sending those to me. Appreciate that. It's a bit crooked. Is what is it? Oh yeah, that's right. That's the other thing that was announced. Chris Franchi, he goes, I know what that is. Chris is part of the arts. I think he's doing all of the art, or they announced that he's doing the art on this next game. I don't know, Chris, what all you can share. Are you doing everything? Like, did you do playfield and everything, or are you just involved, one of the artists?
Man,
or just the fact, yeah. I think God,
Franchi's a hard worker, man. He's putting them out.
That'll be great. But I'm sorry, Ed or Gary, you were
I was just finishing my thought. Like the art on the playfield sort of reminded me of like Avatar: The Last Airbender from like Nickelodeon, which it could be a cool thing because maybe you're trying to appeal to a new generation of fans. I mean, I get that part of it. I didn't feel that the code was there yet, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like it had some interesting features and so forth.
One of the flippers wasn't really even powerful enough to get to stuff
the Turner
on
pinball
there. It was just not things. And I was expecting more with the big kind of build-up he was trying to do. So
it was. They got the artist. It's Matt Andrews. He's the guy that did the art for Weird Al. He did TNA's art. But Chris Franchi there in chat said, I did assist on the next game, but he did all of the art on the following game. So it looks like we're going to have a little bit of Franchi in the next one, but then we're going to be all Franchi. That's awesome. That's really exciting.
He works hard for that money.
Yeah. No, that is really exciting. That's crazy. Wait, if he assisted on the next, but all for the following, Scooby's at like a year-ish. So they're saying they've already designed. It seems like the next game has to be almost done. And then
so this is a dose game, man. Unless they do like Ultraman and Halloween, 2
packages. Because I was gonna say if the next game's almost done, ready to go, but the next game's designed to the point where Franchi's actually already like drawn it all. That's crazy that they're that far ahead. But good on them.
Yeah.
Okay, so Turner Pinball, is that it? Is there any other game that we're missing?
It's and the other problem with Turner 2, Joel, was that the games looked. Not only did they look homebrew again, but they're just like the cabinets they chose were a weird size. They almost look
that was kind of interesting.
Almost toy-like, like
Zizzle-esque.
like half width or whatever, half depth on the cabinet, and I get it. Like they were sort of. I think Ed and Gary, you said it best, where they were like they had some interesting ideas, almost like prototype type ideas or conceptual stuff, but the reality is it just wasn't good, and I think it showed.
It wasn't ready to show.
No,
it wasn't ready to show.
And it's not a almost $10,000 game. There's not.
No,
it's not at all. That's what I think it was Eclectic Gamers, or it was the Pinball Show, one of them. But the fact that, or maybe it was Loser Kid, I don't know. One of you guys said that it's like the fact that you have Labyrinth and you have Turner Pinball, roughly $10,000 each, could not be more night and day. Could not be more night and day.
The Turner wasn't even half the content that Labyrinth has.
Nowhere near. Other fast, just spitfire news here that I'm seeing, courteous of Nap Arcade. Apparently, the rumor now is Journey. Apparently, Stern has Journey Pinball or Journey. So that's going to be the next band theme.
My father-in-law will be excited. Awesome.
Yeah, it's not a band I care about, but so Ray Day will be on code, right? It's a band theme. Right, band
so Ray Day's got that one.
Speaking of news, really quick, one that keeps getting brought up in chat is Back to the Future and. Like Dutch getting
Dutch. Oh, and I do want to mention Pulp Fiction, but that is the rumor, right? That Dutch Pinball has Back to the Future. The thing that we've talked about before, though, is when you think Back to the Future, you think Christopher Lloyd, you think Michael J. Fox, and you think DeLorean. And all three of those are separate licenses that you'd have to get, and I don't think you can really get any of them. So what does that mean? How do you... I don't know. I don't know how you do the game. But
DeLorean one actually might not be hard to do because somebody did buy all the assets and they're actually making new DeLoreans. So that one is a company that might be willing to sell it for cheap to get press. but the actors are probably a bigger
That's going to be tough.
bigger story.
That's
Joel
a
and
weird.
I,
Yeah. Go
well,
ahead.
and Eclectic Gamers reported on this rumor too, and Joel and I can kind of confirm a little bit that it is hard to work with the DeLorean people, is what we were told. And so I heard the hurdle there is pretty high when it comes to Michael J. Fox, the DeLorean, and Christopher Lloyd. So
That's
I don't
gonna
know
be
if it's a
battle.
money barrier.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like we don't want to be on this kind of product kind of barrier. It wasn't clarified to us, but there is a hurdle there that needs to be addressed.
That'll be a battle. But if it happens, cool. But I think it's tough that there are a lot of Back to the Future like fans. I know Zach obviously Flipping Out is one of those where they don't even want to acknowledge the Data East version. Hopefully, if there's another one coming, hopefully they can do it justice or close to it.
Yeah.
Other just rapid fire news. There is finally an app for Insider Connected. It is pretty much exactly what the site was. So,
Right.
you know,
Branchy did say maybe not as hard as you think, by the way. So,
oh, well, hopefully, yeah. I hope it's done great. I think that's about it for rapid fire news. The last thing I did want to mention is Pulp Fiction. Was this anybody's first?
Yes.
Okay. So
yes, it was
so
mine.
what?
Yep.
So let's go. We'll start with Ed and
Mine too.
Gary. So, okay. We'll just we'll end the show with that. So, initial impressions, gameplay, thoughts on. We'll start with Gary and Ed on Pulp Fiction.
Thought it was a fun game. I went through all the modes like the second time I played it.
Okay.
So fun game, great. I like the theme and stuff like that. They put it on swearing mode for us, so we got to hear all the good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, for a game that was kind of giving, sort of a nod to the older machines and that sort of thing, it was surprisingly very fulfilling, and it felt a lot of fun to play that game, even with the less sophisticated, technology on it.
I don't know if it'd be a long-term keeper because after a while of going through the modes, I think you get a little repetitive after a while. So I think it'd be a fun game to have for a while, but I don't think it'd be a keeper for the collection.
It's interesting. So Josh Sharp is involved in all of the code in that game, and there's no DMD on it. And they also made a very set rule of no audio that's unique for pinball. So all the audio that's in the game is directly from the movie. So there's there's no, Samuel L. Jackson sound actor saying, shoot the scoop, like it's not there. It's not there. So if you've worked your way through the game without anybody telling you what to do and then any video showing you what to do, they must have done something right with the choreography of the light show.
It told you what was going on. So,
cool.
But I think long term, it's like there's only so much content in the game.
Okay,
So.
Josh, what were your thoughts?
I really loved it, but humble brag, I almost beat the game while I was there at Interium. I'd gotten through all the modes. I'd done all the things, right? Like I was just shy of a couple of things, but it's a really amazing game for like what you said, where it's just call outs directly from the movie. It has no unique custom. And then just some of the moments, I love locking the balls. Having John Travolta that briefcase flip around and open, and the golden light just up on his. This game is very cool and unique, and it just, like I said, I think if you're looking for a modern retro game, I think this goes into your collection because it does feel like a good solid state. That 80s game. If you're hungering for an 80s game, but the reliability of modern, this is definitely where it's at, and the price point's amazing. I mean, we've talked about multiple times. It's very authentic. It's very genuine. It's a really good game, and CG Scene is known for their quality. So you're not getting a turd when you buy it.
Craig, I do want to know, but real quick interruption here. Frangie, you're just now in chat said, I can say I am working with Touch Pinball as well. So holy cow!
Holy crap!
Dude, man. Okay, so he has worked with Stern, but not anymore. He just did JJP's last 2 games. He's helped with with the next spooky game. He's done all of the next spooky game. He just did America's latest game. and then he's a pinball whore. Yeah, and then he's now working with Dutch. So, dude, that's you need Gary from P3 to call you up. You know, and who else? I mean, who else do you have at that point? That's awesome, man. That's
I don't know if
exciting.
I'd call him that.
Barrels of
I
Fun,
think
yep.
I'd call him escort. Isn't that like the high class? Like
He's a
'cause
high class.
Franchi's
Oh,
very
yes,
high
yes.
class, and he's in high demand. I mean, you can't say no.
What did the series Firefly call them? Ambassador.
He's a
Yes.
pinball ambassador. That's right. He's
Yeah.
the biggest ambassador I know. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's really exciting, Chris, because there's nobody I know that hates Chris Franchi art. That's for
Holy
sure.
crap! Way to
Yeah.
go! You want to give now? You've given Nap and This Week in Pinball fuel
needs-
for the next week.
He needs.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say CGC, but Gary he did the art for the Medieval Madness topper, I think.
Yep. And he
he's-
did stuff in CGC. He did in Cactus Canyon.
Oh, he
The,
did the art blades because I remember the what was it,
Not only
Z?
that, but he did some stuff with the playfield, and he did the water tower stuff too. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. But well,
Good
that's awesome.
crime in it.
Yeah, man. Okay, Craig, initial thoughts on Pulp Fiction?
I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought, like you guys were saying, it was a bit shallow for the money. I thought it was a good representation or feel for like an EM style game, you know, of that sort of call it late 70s era. But I didn't love it. I couldn't. I think a big part of it was I couldn't hear the callouts well enough at Expo.
Yeah, it's hard.
So I probably would have liked it better in a home environment. I thought for a retro game, you know, I know they're slightly different eras, but I was more impressed with Cactus Canyon behind you there, Joel, than I was with Pulp Fiction in terms of
Yeah.
it
Yeah, I wasn't.
playability and all that stuff. You know, I just thought Cactus was more surprising to me as being fun versus a Pulp Fiction.
Sure, and it made me happy because I spent a lot of time with Craig. Slept in the same room as him, you know, humble brag. But no, it's I kind of showed him what to do in Cactus Canyon, and I think I didn't have to show him much, and then it made me happy to see you play it as many times as you did because I'm like, good.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'm glad there are people that are starting to see why I love this game. But well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's yeah, we've gone way over time, and I appreciate you guys doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I wanted to get this group together because I wanted to make sure I grabbed people that were at Expo that experienced all the same games that I did. And I think we did a good job kind of covering those experiences. I know it's a month late, but still it's still relevant because half those games haven't shipped yet. Franchi, I hope you all have a fantastic Thanksgiving with your family. I'm very thankful for you all and look forward to seeing you at TPFs. Absolutely. But yes, this was a fun show to do right before Thanksgiving. We'll go ahead and plug it up. But yeah, thanks chat, everybody that was here and participating.
Can I say one thing before we plug it up?
Yeah, go for it.
You know, we're on the flipping out chat. I just want to do a quick shout out to Zach Meny. I feel like the man he doesn't get as much respect as he deserves. He does a lot of great things for this hobby, including the stream, you know, flipping out. It's great that he makes money off of something that he loves, and I think he's a great pinball ambassador for this. I just want to thank him personally because he's always supported Loser Kid and everything that we've done, and he's never hesitated either. And he's even you know, taking bullets for us. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out episode 113 of a Pinball Show. Man's awesome. Like seriously, he needs to be given props for what he does in this hobby. So,
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. I'm a fan of Zach.
Couldn't agree more.
I mean, I have.
and
that
he's a
right
good
there,
kisser
and-
too. Thank you, Carrie.
Well, yes. No, I really enjoy this. Yes, I really enjoy this.
TPN After Dark, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So let's go ahead and plug it up. Craig, if you want to go first, go for it.
Yes, Craig Bobby doing the top stories on the Pinball Show with Zach Meny and Dennis Kriesel, and you can catch that on the Pinball Network podcast.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Craig. Like always, for being here, bud. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, he's an excellent roommate, guys. If you're looking for somebody to share a hotel room with, you know, I saw his what is it? Trailer Park Boys boxer shorts that he was rocking. Real Real cool. Yeah. No.
And he only had to pay me $20 for me to show him. So that
$20.
was the other thing.
Yeah,
That was great.
that's how I was able to turn the light back on. Yeah, no, $20 if you turn that light. No, it was great. Ed and Gary, thank you. Yes, go for it. Go ahead and plug away.
Yeah, so we stream pinball on our Twitch channel at Wild Dog Arcade on Wednesdays and Sundays, and we also have a YouTube page that we try on a regular basis to update. In fact, there's a couple of new videos, including our Expo run through as well. So definitely appreciate it, and it's been a lot of fun this evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This was their first time on, and no, it was great. I really appreciate you guys being on here. And then Josh, go for it.
I'm so glad they said Wild Dog because I read Franchi's No Thong and I thought of Wild Thong. So,
No, Wild Dog Arcade.
Wild Dog
Yeah.
Arcade. Yeah.
no. Sorry. That's why we're shutting down. I'm out of control now. Anywho, so I'm Josh Roop, Loser Kid Pinball Podcast. You can check us out on all the socials at Loser Kid on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Twitch. We are on YouTube now, thanks to Joel pushing us and saying, "Hey, people want to see your face." Also thanks to the Triple Dating guys too, because they're like our number one listened to episode out of all of our stuff, and so. That's pretty cool as well. But if you want to check out our content, is directly on soundcloud.com/loserkidpinball podcast. Go check it out. Like I said, we just dropped a handful of episodes, including Jack Guarneri from JJP, Larry DeMar, who, if you do not know who he is the man that invented something, the percentages for replays and stuff like that. Like, the man is the godfather of modern code. Go listen to it. It's 2 hours of amazingness. And we've got exciting guests coming up. We got a TV star coming on, hopefully this next week. And that's it for me. And check out our hats, I guess. I guess get a hold of me if you want
Rep that merch, yeah.
Yeah. Or silverballswag.com/loserkid. If you want any of our merch, it's on there.
Yeah, there's. Is that on Silverball Swag as well?
Yep, ours is there too.
Silver
Yep.
Swag, yes.
Perfect. Check it out. Silverball Swag, and then there's Triple Drain stuff on there as well. But yeah, my name is Joel. This is the Flipping Out with Friends stream. I stream every Wednesday night. I've been off the last 2 weeks, but I'm back every Wednesday night from 10 to midnight. I think my brother and I will be playing something next week. I know Elton John is coming soon, so I don't know if that'll be next week or the week after. Otherwise, we'll be streaming probably Labyrinth again or Venom. But check out the stream. Random last little thing that I just thought of. This week in pinball, we just learned that the TWIPY voting is based off of whether or not you're in the Pinball Promoters database, and I'm pretty sure all of us are. Like, the Pinball Show's there, Triple Drain's there, Loser Kid, Wild Dog Arcade, it's all there. But
humble brag, we're the second from the top.
Yeah, look at this.
Reviews. yeah.
What I'm saying is
RB Flip France and Loser Kid, and then Poor Man's of all people. That's awesome too.
Well, what surprised me was there's very little very few reviews. Like, I was like, oh, I wonder if Flippin' Out stream has any reviews. Yeah, 2. So, for anybody that's watching this now or later, feel free to leave a review, if you want. I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if that matters, but if it's here and people actually use the database, sure. I think it's worth leaving a review on. Does Wild Dog have any?
Yes.
I think we do.
We've got a couple of reviews.
I typed
and please leave 5-star reviews. Like, we put in a lot of effort. We don't ask for money to do this stuff. I'm not saying like stack the deck for us, but what I'm saying is like
8 reviews.
You just be a little genuine with us. Joel does. He's like the face of pinball now. Like, you review his 10 products he's got out on this database. Seriously, like
a Triple Drain. We had one. I got
to
to share this because it's the best. We had one until we mentioned it, because then Josh left us a review because we have a whopping 2. But this was it. Love the podcast, entertaining, kill the tournament talk, boring. That was our one review for like forever, and we just thought that was so great. But anyway, so the random last minute thing. So yeah,
he is the beard of pinball. That's what you are now, Joel.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
By Franchi.
But yes, tune in next week. Once again, appreciate everybody that was here. Chat, I love it. Chris Franchi, I see Ray Day. I saw Mark Silk, to have people, Carrie Hardy, other people, content creators or creators in this hobby to show up and chat. So that's awesome. It's always good to see. And then familiar faces as well. So I love the people that tune in every week. It's really awesome.
And it was
So,
Kerry Hardy's birthday today. He didn't even say anything. What's up
happy
with
birthday.
that? Yeah.
Do I add product to my beard? I do. That's a whole nother, got to keep it soft. Got to keep it soft. But all right. Well, that's all I got. Everybody have a great night. We'll tune in next week. And go check out Wild Dog. When's the next time you stream? You said Sunday?
Yeah, I think we're going to stream at some point in Thanksgiving because we've got some days off. We're not traveling anywhere, but normally it's Sundays and Wednesdays.
Yeah, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and then Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's our normal nights.
Perfect. Yeah. And then Pinball Show will be not next week, but the week after. And then Loser Kid, you're recording soon. So every 2 weeks. Yeah. All right. Appreciate it, everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks,
Bye.
Joel. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Thanks, chat.
Bye.